We are going to get started in a minute, so if everyone could take their seats. For the clerk's office and the AV team, if you could let me know if we're good to go. No, you.
Good evening, residents of Prince George's County. Good evening, please take your seats. Good evening, residents of Prince George's County, and thank you for being here today. My name is Ariana Alvear with the Prince George's County Council, and I welcome you to the second of 3 2026 Council Listening Tours. We appreciate you taking the time to come and join us today and share your voice with us tonight. This listening tour is about hearing directly from you, what is working, what isn't, and what could be improved. We have representatives from a number of county agencies here today to help guide the conversation and address some of your concerns. Your experiences and ideas will help guide our decision-making and shape the future of Prince George's County, and the council is here to listen. Some quick housekeeping notes. Please keep your comments to 2 minutes to allow for council members and agencies to respond if possible, and for other residents to have time to speak. Please refer to officials by their titles, for example, chair, council member, director, and so on. We also have interpretation available in sign language and in Spanish. If needed, tenemos interpretación disponible en español para los residentes que lo necesiten. And please, if you haven't done so already, sign up to speak with the clerk's office in the back. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to our council chair, Crystal Oriada, for opening remarks. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here this evening. We know it's cold outside, so you could be anywhere, but you chose to be engaged in your community, and so we appreciate that. As mentioned, I'm Councilwoman Crystal Oriada. I have the pleasure of representing District 7, but also serving as the chair of the County Council this year. And it was really important to me. I believe in collaborative leadership. And that is not only hearing from my colleagues, but hearing from my community. So I do what we call civic roundtables every month in my district. But when I became chair, I thought it was important to use that same roadmap as chair. And so taking these listening tours around the county was an opportunity for me to hear directly and my colleagues about the concerns that are most important to you. So the idea is for us to talk about legislative ideas, how we could prioritize our budget, and then sometimes just hear direct concerns. Yet last time we were able to get some things done right in the moment of the town hall. So I'm excited about the opportunity for us to meet your needs in real time. We also have a survey. For some people, they don't like to get up and speak in front of crowds, but we want to make sure that everyone is included. And if you know some people that aren't able to make it to any of the listening tours, make sure that they take that survey as well. It'll help us guide our legislation, our priorities, programming, how we can focus our agenda so it's centered on the needs of the community. So I want to start with just a little bit of my priorities as chair. When I took this office, this seat, I talked about the vision being a prototype for what is possible, asking myself and my colleagues to think beyond what we normally do to the possibilities, because I think anything is possible if we put our heads together, our resources, and we have the will to do it. So 4 major areas of focus is universal child care. I think that when we talk about child care and the barrier for economic development and success, even the comptroller did a report about how access to child care, the cost of child care, is one of the biggest issues facing this state. And we see it across the country. And so my goal is to work on a bold plan and strategy to address that. We'll also be focusing on economic development. You know, we talk a lot about the realities of how we are burdened by property taxes, in the sense that if we want to do anything from a resource standpoint, most of our money comes from taxes. And the reality is, if we never shift that burden away from our residents and onto commercial taxation, we're going to constantly be in the same situation. And so what I'm holding myself and my colleagues accountable for is we can no longer just say we want economic development, but our policies have to match it. So we are going to be grading ourselves around how many policies we push that are bold around directly building economic development. We'll also be focusing on zoning. One of the issues that we see directly tied to economic development is it attractive to build in Prince George's County? How long does the process take? But that burden between making sure the community has input. In no way should we shorten the process and take away the people. So how do we find a balance between making us competitive in the region but not losing the input from our residents? So those are just a few of the priorities that I'll be focusing on as chair. So for today, as mentioned, each person will have 2 minutes to come up and give comments and any questions. But before we pass it on to the residents, I want to give each of my colleagues an opportunity to introduce themselves and give maybe 2 to 3 of their top high-level priorities, because this will not be a session where we just talk at you. We want this to be a conversation. Many people that have ever testified before us at the council, it's basic decorum that we never respond. The idea is that you come, you have 3 minutes to speak before the body, but we don't respond, not because we don't care, but it's just the decorum of the chamber. The great thing about when you come to town halls, this is an opportunity for us to answer questions and have an actual back and forth dialogue. We will note that the space has a hard stop. I think our last time we went like an hour and a half over because we were willing to let every single person speak. But we won't be able to do that tonight, and that's not because we don't want to, but the parameters of the space. So first, I'll be passing it on to one of my newest members of the County Council. I'm so excited to announce our newest member representing District 4, the Honorable Tim Adams.
Hey, good evening, everyone. First and foremost, I'd like to say it is an honor and a privilege to be here this evening. It is also an honor and a privilege to represent District 4. So I'm truly excited about that. My main agenda, starting out, is what we're doing now. I want to listen. I want to hear what you, as constituents, not just in District 4, but over the entire county, what is it that matters to you? You know, my agenda has to be based upon what you feel and what you want and what you need. So that's where I'm focusing. I will tell you that economic development is important, and we've heard that. And I've been very fortunate to have started a business out of the trunk of my car and grown it. But I want to make sure that economic development means that we're going to have a positive impact on the residents of Prince George's County. And we can do those things and we can make it scalable, but we can do that immediately. But again, I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to serve District 4, and I look forward to hearing what you believe and what you need. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have the Honorable Councilmember Shayla Adams Stafford, representing District 5.
Thank you so much. And welcome to District 5, everyone. We're so happy to have you here in the Glen Arden Community Center. And I see so many of my Civic Association leaders and community leaders here. You know, we got to represent, and I know they have a lot of questions for us, which I'm very excited to get to that portion of our evening. And so just, you know, my residents know a lot of what I stand for is around really bringing the voices of people that have often been overlooked to the forefront. And what that means is thinking specifically about our seniors and food insecurity. That has been a major focus of my work since I've gotten into the council this June, which means setting up our food distribution network here in District 5, thinking about how we can support children in our school system that had lunch debt. We worked really hard to erase that lunch debt here in District 5 for so many of our kids. And now I'm so excited. Yes, that was a blessing. And I worked, you know, I have to also give a little bit of a shout out to Councilwoman Jolene Ivy too, because we were able to do that with some funding that she left behind for me to do. So I want to thank you for that. Absolutely. And so, you know, really the next step of the food insecurity challenge that we have here is thinking about how do we create a sustainable way to support folks that really need food. They need access to food. And so I'm so happy to announce we're going to be launching a free grocery store in Fairmont Heights. We already have over 100 families that have signed up. They're going to be able to get groceries twice a month and get a full set of groceries. I'm so excited about this. But that's what government can do, and government has to work for the people. So many of our seniors cannot get access to fresh food. And so we're showing these large corporations, look, there's the infrastructure here, and we need fresh food and fresh groceries. And so I could talk so much about food, that's why I was late. I was at home cooking for my 3 kids, making sure they had dinner tonight before I got here. So I'm gonna go quickly. Economic development. I also am a business owner, and really what we're thinking about in terms of economic development here in District 5 is attracting high-quality businesses here, high-quality dining. As many doors as I've knocked, so many people want to see higher quality retail come to this region. They're tired of the liquor stores, they're tired of the tobacco stores, and they want to see retail that really speaks to the demands here. And so we've created the Retail Advisory Group here, right here in District 5, and that group is off to a running start. Some of the members are here in the building. We've already have a potential big opportunity to expand some retail right down here on Landover Road, so I'm really excited about that. As we go through identifying ways to bring brokers, landowners, and community members together to bring the stores and the retail we want to see here. And then lastly, affordable housing. That's one of my major things that I'm going to be focusing on. I had a great discussion with our chair today about how do we create permanent, affordable housing. And that can happen. That's real. We can have permanent, affordable housing in this county where people, no matter, you know, what your situation is, what your income is, you can get access to housing that won't take up your entire paycheck. And so that's something that we're working on. We're going to be working to, you know, expand that trust that we already have, fund that trust, and work with our housing director to see how we as a county can build that type of housing. I'm going to pass it off now. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next, we have another one of our newest council members, representing District 6, Honorable Danielle Hunter.
Good evening. Thank you, and thank you for allowing me to share my initiatives. As she said, I'm Danielle Hunter, the newest councilwoman for District 6, and my first and foremost thing that I would like to do is listen. I want to hear the concerns of the residents in the district as well as the county. I have lived in District 6 since 2018, so a lot of the concerns there are mine. So I want to be a sounding board and out on the forefront of making a difference. So to talk about a little bit of my own personal initiatives is I have initiatives throughout my, I have a company called Take Flight Consulting where we travel around and talk to young youth about aviation. We inspire them to become pilots. My husband is one of 1% of aviation pilots in the country. So it's important for us to include them and go into these schools and give children an opportunity to see that they too can fly airplanes. So we have been doing that through our initiatives, pushing education, safer communities, bridging the gap between young adults and police officers, working on educational advancement, helping them fill out forms for scholarships. So that's another part of it for healthier families. During our program, we would feed families. We would do that ourselves out of our pocket. So that's something I just want to continue doing within the county, and primarily just talk to the residents, listen to what their concerns are, and be a face of reason. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have one of our at-large members, Councilmember Jolene Ivey.
Well, thank you so much for coming out tonight. It's great to be home in District 5. And of course, I represent the whole county now, but it all started here, and I appreciate you all. And I wanted to give you a couple of notes. One, families are the through line of everything that I do. So whatever I'm doing, I've got families in mind, whether it's got to do with crime or school, safety, housing, seniors, youth, whatever it is, it's about families. And one thing that I was thinking as an at-large member, I need to kind of carve out a niche that's not being addressed by district council members. They're focused on their districts. They're trying to make sure that their districts get the services that they need. But there are certain communities that have been left out, and one of them is the disability community. The first thing that I did a couple years ago, we got a bill passed that's going into effect July 1st that's called Universal Design. And that means as houses are being built in Prince George's County, they'll have to be built with universal design in mind, so that you're able to age in place. If you have a disability, whether it's permanent or temporary, you'll be able to continue to live in your home. I know that it was brought home to me, particularly when my dad lived with us for 5.5 years of his life, the last 5.5 years, and he couldn't have done that. We couldn't have had him live with us if we didn't have our first floor kind of set up for him. So we put in a shower on the first floor with a grab bar and everything, you know, a little place to sit. It was built that way because I knew that one day it was likely that one of our family members would move in with us, and indeed that happened. So there's a room that the kids used to use as their playroom that became his bedroom, and it all kind of worked out. But I don't know what we would have done if our house hadn't already been set up like that. And then a few years ago, I had foot surgery. Man, we would have been in bad shape if Glenn had to put me on his back and carry me up the stairs. That wouldn't have worked. So it was fortunate that my dad's room was there. I could stay in my dad's room. Of course, he's gone now. And the bathroom was there, and I was okay. So if I'm thinking about other families, if we have other housing as it's being built that way, so that you'll be able to have your grandma or your granddad come live with you, or if you get disabled permanently or temporarily, you'll be able to stay there. You won't have to worry about it. And so that's been a priority, and I'm really happy that that is finally coming to fruition. And another thing I've been working on lately, I found out that about 3.5% of our population is either low vision or blind. and they weren't getting any services in Prince George's County. When I found that out, I found out they were going to Silver Spring or DC to get services. So we brought the community together so they could tell us what they needed. Then I spoke with the county executive, and she very graciously offered free space in one of the county buildings. And it'll be opening soon. We're just trying to pull the furniture together for it right now. So that's been an exciting venture. We have people ready to do the services, and it'll be really great. Another thing I've been working on, I thought I would have launched it by now, but I wanted to fully launch the Low Vision Center first. And this is an autism resource event. And I'm super excited about that, to do the same thing, pull people together, find out where our holes are and what we already offer, and to make sure that people are getting served. Immigration's super important to me. What's happening right now in our country is outrageous, and I want to do all that we can here in Prince George's County to fight back against what's happening with ICE, and to make sure the people who live here, who are already living here and serving with us and being good members of the community, we want to make sure that they're welcome and not afraid to be here. Economic development, of course, is important. There's one thing, I'm sorry, did I go too long? The chair is cutting me off, but I'm sure I'll have an opportunity to talk more later. Thank you.
We're going to have a lot of time to talk about all of those things, but we want to make sure we give the floor to our residents. And then the last but not least, we have another council member visiting us, Councilmember Fisher, representing District 2.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. Can we give our chair a round of applause? Thank you, Chair Oriata, for your vision. Good evening. My name is Wanika Fisher. I get to represent the tiny district in our county, District 2. Excited to be here with my new colleagues and listening to their community. And happy Black History Month. Can we celebrate us? Okay, that's one thing I love about our county. It's Black History 365, as it should be. I just wanted to just point out to you with the very excited to have the confidence of my colleagues. I chair two committees at the County Council. One, which is very busy right now, is our General Assembly Committee. So I'm sure many of you know your state delegates and senators are in Annapolis. It's my job to make sure that our administration and the Maryland General Assembly understands how their legislation impacts us here in the county and our perspectives on it, and also to make sure we get every dollar that we deserve. So that takes up a lot of my time currently, and then I also chair our Health, Human Services, and Public Safety. Our priorities are the safety of the residents of Prince George's County. I know I saw our Fire Chief, Chief Makalides is here. Hi, Fire Chief. So every law enforcement budget from the fire, police, corrections, state's attorney, all of it is in that committee. So don't let them find me because they'll ask me about their money. But that is in that committee. Domestic violence is a huge priority for me and the chair and all the colleagues. And focusing on our work group this year is about the housing for domestic violence victims and wraparound services. Non-fatal shootings in our county are up 38%, which means you're more likely to get shot at home in Prince George's County than anywhere else. So that is a huge issue. That committee, and to speak for Councilwoman Blagay, health is super important that I focus on in that committee. I either say it's either a gun or heart disease. That's what's killing Prince Georgians, and it's really important that I focus on that and quality of life. So with that, thank you so much, Madam Chair. Excited, and if you have any issues or particular issues with those two committees, please let me know.
Thank you so much. And thank you to all of my colleagues for being here today and creating space to hear from all of your residents, their issues and concerns. And now, again, for housekeeping, for anyone that walked in late, there is a timer that sits right in front of the mic. It'll have 2 minutes on it, and so you'll be able to see when their time runs up. You know, I always try to let people finish their sentences, but I might have to nudge you to finish. And if it's a question, We'll do our best to answer it. If it's a comment and just like a suggestion or idea, please know that we're taking note of it. We also have staff around the room that are taking notes of all of the ideas that come out of this, and we'll have a report at the end. So we'll have the survey and all of the things that come out of all of the listening tours, and it'll be publicized so that everyone can see like the running trend of all the ideas and concepts, and then you can judge us at the end of the year saying, hey, did we do anything, right, that came from these conversations. And if you didn't sign up, you have to sign up. It's just because it has to be on the record. And you sign up in the back with the clerk's office, and then your name will be read by the team. When your name's read, you can come up to the mic. So now I will pass it on to the community.
Good evening and welcome again. Welcome to listening session 2 here in districts 4, 5, and 6. I will call your names in groups of 3. And I would ask that you come up to the mic, be mindful of the clock that's before you, and you will have 2 minutes. Thank you so much. Our names, our first group of 3, Unisha Davis, Sharon Gibson, and Linda Banks. Please come forward. Thank you.
Good evening, Chair Uriadova, council members. Thank you for an opportunity to provide public statement. I appreciate your patience as I speak about concerns related to my former agency, the Office of Community Relations, whose budget and performance you are charged with overseeing. Let me be clear, this was a serious storm, and I acknowledge that. I also acknowledge that we have the ability and responsibility to plan, prepare, and communicate clearly. It was very disappointing and disheartening to learn that my former agency, as a director, did not respond to residents. Residents spent 40 minutes to 2 hours on hold until the system was temporarily shut down. During my tenure for 6.5 years, I went from a 5-minute call time to 30 seconds. That maintained throughout COVID, through a pandemic, at the worst times. It is our responsibility to prepare and plan properly, to be proactive. So even through the COVID pandemic, the rental assistance program, I built a separate call center alongside of the PGC 311 call center because I understood the importance of responding to residents. The Silver Shovel program, amazing 4,000 residents. That program was built by me. It was called Clear Path last year. I tried, I tested it, I packaged it before I left. It was to be implemented September through November for you to do intake of 4,000 people. You knew it was going to be a tremendous response, so that when an emergency came, all you had to deploy because you had already vetted. The 311 call system was not designed for intake. I built it for immediate response for our residents. So I thank you for this opportunity, and I only ask that you help leadership prepare better, plan better, and respond to the residents because they deserve the best service that we can give. Thank you.
And thank you for your comment. I would say that I 100% agree that it is the responsibility of the council for oversight. And we will be doing just that. I think that there's complaints that have come before us around people getting things closed in 301 as the moment that they put it in, about the system not in taking calls in a timely manner, and we will have to understand what went wrong and how we can ensure that that doesn't happen again. But thank you for that. Next.
All right, thank you, Chairwoman, Councilmember Oriata, and the council. I wrote mine down because I'm a preacher, and it's a dangerous thing to give me a microphone. These are my comments. There is a growing perception among constituents that the council communication and public remarks place greater emphasis on affirming the county executive than on clearly dealing with the true realities of our citizens. While this approach may be well-intended, it is increasingly being received as tone deaf by community members in my community that I represent. They are concerned about their property taxes, many of them who are seniors. Our residents want to hear their challenges named, acknowledged, and advocated with clarity and with urgency. When those concerns are not visibly amplified, it creates distance and fuels distrust with the council, even when progress may be occurring behind the scenes. If the goal is for the council to be successful, trusted, and viewed as a true voice of the people, I respectfully recommend that we recalibrate our public communication. This brings me to my question. Given the county's recurring budget deficit and long-term structural gaps, what is the council's clear strategy to move away from reliance on residential development and rising property taxes and towards true economic development, specifically attracting retention of strong commercial, industrial jobs, job-producing enterprises for our residents so that they don't have to rely on federal government jobs that can generate sustainable revenue and put our citizens in a better place for their future? Thank you.
Thank you. So I will start, but obviously want to yield to any of my colleagues to also. Okay. Would you like to go first, Councilman Bridie?
Well, thank you so much. I'll do that. For
You're
some
welcome.
reason, I thought that it was going to be Shayla, but in any event, I'll take it. That's a great question, and it's a serious one. When it comes to economic development, is the part I'm going to focus on. There's one thing that my husband, Glenn Ivey, has been focused on that we talk about at home and that, you know, as a family we support, which is promoting a research triangle here in Prince George's County. We have a lot of assets here that we could deploy, and that if we had clear communication together, we'd be able to take advantage and expand. So we have NASA Goddard, USDA, BARC, the Army Research Laboratory, University of Maryland, Bowie State. We have a lot of opportunities to work together and to be able to pull in more businesses that are in tech, because that's one place that we have quantum. We have some assets here, but we would like to grow them and to have more. So I think that the technology could really be a thing here in Prince George's County, but we'd have to all focus on it. Thank you.
And I would just like to add that is the top priority for us as a council. One of the reasons, as I said, economic development as chair and really holding myself accountable to how we move the needle. So one of the pieces of legislation that we're asking the state for is the ability for more tax incentives beyond just housing development. The reality is I had put forth legislation where I wanted, in my district, it's inside the Beltway, we have a real issue with entertainment, restaurants, sit-down places to eat. So I was thinking about tax incentives for restaurants inside the Beltway. And the reality is we didn't have the authority to do it. We had to go to the state. When we looked at a lot of our tax incentives, how they're built currently, it's geared towards housing development, right? It points us in the direction opposite of what we want to go to. So right now we have legislation in the state that's tied towards allowing us for incentives to build the type of economic development we want to see. We also have to look at zoning, going back to how do we make ourselves attractive and then prioritize the right type of zoning in the right places. What we don't want to see is most of our transit-oriented development be simply apartments. We're losing the walkability and opportunity for small businesses to grow if we don't even put the infrastructure for it. Then also looking at how do we use the funding we have. The EDIF fund, that was $50+ million set aside in the Baker administration. When we looked at how that money was spent and the return on that investment, it's shameful. The reality is that we had an opportunity to really invest in growing business in a thoughtful way, and it went to a lot of places that went bankrupt, that then they owed us money, and it made no sense. So re-strategizing how we give investments through EDIF fund, FSC, to make sure it actually goes where we want it. And the last thing I'll say is we have a huge opportunity, and we cannot drop the ball when it comes to Six Flags, the Blue Line Corridor, and the stadium. Those are going to be our 3 anchor opportunities for economic development, and we're going to be working closely with the executive branch because a lot of their control, and we're the legislative branch. So how do we come together to make sure we do it right? And did you have something you wanted to add? So the last comment will be by Councilmember Adams' staff.
Yes, thank you. And this has been something I've been focusing on intently. So one of the things that we have to do here is we have to look at our assets. Our assets are aerospace engineering. Prince George's County is the quantum capital of America, which means quantum technology is being built here. And so part of our work is thinking about how do we expand that industry that's happening right here and prepare young people to go into that industry. And additionally, we have to create an investment community here in Prince George's County. So in DC, they have a large investment community where people are investing in small businesses and startups. And so one of the things we're going to be working with the county executive is creating a startup week. Now, I've had a startup. I understand what it takes for a small business to need capital to grow. So we have to create that ecosystem. So the council is working to develop that ecosystem here so small businesses can stay here. They need subsidized housing. They need shared costs. They need the government to invest in their small business so that it can grow. Councilmember Chairwoman Oriata and I actually had an opportunity to bring a international delegation here of foreign investors that are interested in doing structural investments in our county. So, for example, in District 5, we want to redevelop the 202-450 corridor to highlight our assets of international food, cultural food, create that as a space where people want to go out for a night to eat. Well, we have a lot of structural changes that have to happen there. We need investors to help make that happen. So if we want to upgrade the Bladensburg waterfront to make it look like the wharf where we have, amazing, also, environmentally conscious development, but have shops and housing, all of that requires investment. We have to have investment to do that type of work. And so a lot of what we're doing is creating our investment community here, seeking outside investment, creating legislation that makes it okay to do that type of investment, and create incentives for businesses to come here. As she said with the EDI fund, okay, we want to bring PF Chang's here, we want to bring Cheesecake Factory. I'm on the phone, I'm begging them, Bonefish Grill, I'm calling, my staff can tell you I'm calling them all the time. They have to have their costs, their losses covered for 4, 5, 10 years. We have to have the money to give that incentive to them to do it. So that is all about us being dogged, being aggressive, and you have the right people on the council that both Councilman Adams and I have grown businesses, so we know what it takes to work with the county executive to go out and go after those types of companies.
Thank you. Next question.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Linda Banks. Thank you so much for having this listening session. I think it's really important, and I'm glad to see so many people out here tonight. I agree with my previous neighbors in their comments, but I would like to take my comment in a different direction. So my comment is about my experience in the court system here in Prince George's County, which has not been good at all. I had to file for child support and custody for my 6-year-old son back in 2017. We are still in court. And I won't get into, because I can't do it in 2 minutes, get into all the details of how much I've been disrespected as a woman and as a mother, dismissed, unbelieved. But Dad just believed he can just say something, no evidence, I don't even get a chance to respond, and it's truth. And then they make a ruling on that. It's in my case record. And I say this meaning no disrespect to anyone here, and certainly no disrespect to our honored guests today, but this is my truth, and I must speak it. I will speak it until I am heard. Now, I do recognize I'm an attorney myself. I am an attorney by trade, even though I do not practice in the state of Maryland. I practice for Navy. But I do understand jurisprudence. I do understand. I've been practicing for 25 years. I understand the difference between the legislative branch and the judicial branch. I know you might be thinking this is really not my job, what she's talking about right here. The issue is people who are not attorneys don't have an easy way to voice these issues. When they've been disrespected and when they've been shot down and when people refuse to hear them, it's not easy. They turn away hurt. And I have heard horror stories of people being turned away feeling like they were never heard. So what I think you all can do, I wouldn't make this suggestion if I didn't have this complaint and if I didn't have a suggestion. So my suggestion that I would like to make is that I think it would be very easy if the council would support a QR code that would be in and around the courthouse that regular everyday people can easily use to send in comments to the county. The county can do that for a year, collect the data, write a report, and send it to the judicial system so they know how we feel, because they don't have listening sessions.
Thank you for that. And I'm very sorry for your experiences. And I know Councilmember Fisher wants to address it, but before I do, there is a Lexus. There's a blocking, I think it's the fire lane, and they do need you to move your car. And it is, you have cowboy tags, so shame on you. And it's a Lexus, it's white, license plates DV27154. Thank you. But now I'll pass it to Councilmember Fisher.
Yes, Madam Chair looked at me and she said, "That's your question." And of course, you know, I would be remiss if I didn't recognize our amazing retired Judge Sheila Adams, who's here, who's worked in our court system endlessly, and I know she would agree with me and takes what you said very seriously. So I would just be very quick. One, we can follow up after this. So I'll make sure you have my number and we can talk. As for Health and Human Services and Public Safety, that's the committee that I chair. It's interesting, the buildings, some of it is in the county budget, but the court system is actually a state-funded system, right? And so I think the council actually has done some legislation interacting with the courts. We all sit on a coordinating criminal council that we had a resolution about. We work together. I attend those meetings on behalf of the council. And I think you're right, communication's definitely needed. And I would say to you as well that I think, you know, there's a lot of debate in Annapolis, but it is what it is. Judges are on the ballot. So when you go on this year, a lot of your circuit court bench is on the ballot. So make sure, and they're out in the community a lot. We thank them for their service, and they're here to talk to you, and they want to earn your vote and confidence for them to keep, you know, their 15-year term. And so one, I want to let people know, because when you go to vote this June, you're going to see us, you're going to see governor, but then keep flipping. You're going to see the circuit court in their affirmation election. So I want people to understand that. I would say that I'm excited to work with you. I think it's something to look out on commentary, but one thing I always tell people, and I've been a prosecutor, I've been on defense for 8 years, you meet people in court in their worst day, on their worst moment. So I will say, when it's your worst day and it's your worst, there's happy days in court, but a lot of it is your worst day and your worst moment. And I think that can definitely leave the atmosphere wanting for that civility. And so I agree with you with that. I'm happy to engage with you on how the council can engage with all of our court partners, and whether it's our sheriff who's there, state's attorney's office, and the bench about Upper Marlboro and Hyattsville. So I'll be really excited to work with you, and I'll have Justice Sylvia from my staff come to you so that we can get a meeting on the books and continue to talk.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Fisher. Our next speaker will be Selah Bell, Susan Barnett, and Carrie Dyke.
Thank you. Good evening and happy Black History Month. My name is Selah, and I'm an organizer with the Party for Socialism and Liberation and a part of the No Landover Data Center campaign. I live in DC, but my aunt and cousins live here in PG, and my grandma, Julia H. Wright, was a principal at Seat Pleasant Elementary School for several decades. I know that PG County residents take pride in our education and prosperity, but a lot of our politicians, historically, and bureaucrats will have happily sacrificed that and flooded our neighborhoods with dirty fossil fuel plants, coal ash and mining sites, or landfills. Also that this white supremacist system can churn out more blood-stained profits for a small class of billionaires. Putting AI data centers anywhere in the county continues this extractive environmental racism, forcing us to endure higher energy bills, rolling blackouts, and air and water pollution, all while offering very few permanent local jobs and tying us to a sinking ship of an industry that is already preparing for a government bailout that we will all pay for. These facilities are also the backbone for militarized agencies like ICE that are spending tens of millions of dollars on AI technology to more effectively terrorize and kidnap our neighbors and family members. We don't want our politicians to be defeatist and respond to these existential threats by asking big tech for crumbs, like community benefit agreements, when your constituents are clearly showing that we have the power to take the entire table. We're part of a nationwide struggle against big tech. Over $98 billion in planned AI data centers were derailed in just a single quarter last year. And New Orleans' City Council recently passed a year-long moratorium. We know this is a winnable struggle, and we refuse to sell out any of our own. I want to thank you, County Chair Oriata, for honoring the struggle and respecting the interests of your constituents these past 2 weeks. Earlier this week, you rejected the Planning Board's attempt to turn District 9 into a sacrifice zone for AI. And while we're happy to see the proposed return of detailed site plans for AI data centers, we urge you and the rest of the council to put your feet down and permanently ban AI data centers from the county. We're tired of seeing politicians who look like us still stab us in the back, and we want public parks, farm and grocery co-ops, heritage tourism, a medical innovation district, and not AI data centers. I'm urging you to support your constituent struggle for more community control and work alongside us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good evening, County Council. Oh my, it moves. My name is Susan Barnett. I'm from Greenbelt, Maryland. Can you hear me? Okay, because it's really hard to hear in here. Just want to make a comment that the Planning Board Chair's proposed data center zoning legislation to allow data centers on agricultural and rural land was quite unexpected. And I wanted to thank you, Chair Oriata, for swiftly responding that you would not advance that proposal. So thank you very much. I feel that the data center issues have haunted our communities far too much, and I would encourage you to find healthy alternatives. Clearly, data centers are unhealthy for us. And I'm going to just cut down into one of the proposed budget issues is to cut the summer youth employment program, and yet they want to add $6 million. Who they are, the budget planning people, I don't know who they are. They want to add $6 million for AI surveillance in schools. This seems like a bad equation to work out in my mind, and I would steer clear of this decision. I also feel that the hyperscale type of data centers are so closely linked to surveillance. Run away from this idea. Do not go there. Stay away from data centers. We do not need the awfulness that surveillance and ICE can bring to our communities. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I just want to say thank you for flagging the point of the importance of our summer youth employment programs and making sure our kids have jobs. Last year, our former Councilmember Hawkins, introduced legislation that many of us co-sponsored about trying to do a year-around jobs program. The Councilmember Burrows has launched a job program for District 8. I'm going to be launching one in District 7, but the goal is for it to be countywide. And you're right, we shouldn't be cutting opportunities for our young people. And so I think the council is 100% aligned on that. So thank you.
Hi, my name is Carrie Dyke, and I don't know a lot about the data centers, but from what I've pieced together, is my understanding correct that if this data proposal goes through, the energy that it's going to take all forms of energy is equal to the cost and environmental power of the entire state of Maryland to run it. Is that correct? You don't need to answer now, but that's my understanding of what this proposal will be. I would like to ask that a moratorium be placed on the data centers until the state study has been accomplished. And finally, I would like to ask the council to reconsider the bags that they give to all of us with all the stuff in, that the bags be made of paper which can be recycled, because they're not really useful to us and they must cost a fortune to make. Thank you.
I'm not sure, and I don't think any of my colleagues were sure about the particular project you were talking about. No proposal for a data center has come up before us, so I would have to look into it to know what you're specifically talking about for a specific project.
Thank you so much. Our next resident will be Beverly John, Lillian Brown, and Paul Howe.
Good evening, Council Chair and members. Good to see you all, and I appreciate and thank you for the opportunity to hear about your priorities and to come before us and let us be able to, share some things with you. I'm listening to the folks who were before me, and I'm sure you're going to hear from people after me who are talking about all kinds of issues, from the data centers, from the surveillance, from ICE, which I've heard is like operating in Greenbelt now. I don't know if any Greenbelt people are here who can verify that or not, but there are a lot of different issues: housing, mental health, the youth, and the family support that is needed around that. I'm very happy to hear that you guys wish to be able to provide more support to families and to the youth, and are concerned about the decrease in the summer youth program. But here's my question. I've been before you all before on this one, and I'm going to share it again. We have about maybe a little over $10 million sitting somewhere in the state that is supposed to be used for community reinvestment because of the cannabis sales. We have, as far as I know, there is a board that is fully seated, that has been seated since last year, and there have been no meetings, and no one has done anything to tell us what is really the plan to get those funds into the community where we really need them. So my question, what are we doing?
No, thank you for that question. So for those that don't know, when cannabis was legalized on the state level, they put aside funding that had to go into the community. So it couldn't be used for policing. It had to be set aside to go to the community. Each jurisdiction could legislate how they were going to use that funding. So I passed the Cannabis Reinvestment Act probably the first year that they legalized cannabis. And so that was the ability to create the board that would sit so that we could, so it wouldn't be just people like myself making the decision, but it would have input from the community, similar to the models in Baltimore. Then a lot of shifts happened, and we never got a full appointment of it. So the council, we did our part. We appointed every single member we were supposed to for each district. At the time, the current county executive, Alsa Brooks, only submitted 2 names. So we never legally could meet because it wasn't fully at capacity. The acting county executive, I'm sure, felt like it wasn't her place to submit names, and she did not. And then now I've just met with the chief of staff for the current county executive, and they are working to submit their 2 names. I've put it as a priority. We've allocated $2.6 million of the fund to be spent in this fiscal year, but it is non-lapsing funds, so we do not lose it. It is constantly accumulating. But that was the holdup. So in full transparency, the shifts of leadership allowed us not to get those last 2 names that we needed to legally meet.
Good evening, everybody. I'm a little nervous, but I have 2 questions. The first one is several years ago, and Chair, you were part of this, there was an incident where 2 people who were actually caught by ICE, and they should not have because it was an administrative and not criminal. And the council proceeded to enact or put into law or codify what the cooperation would be between law enforcement, local law enforcement, and ICE. What I'd like to know, has the council re-looked at that law that was enacted a few years ago to see if those protocols and processes are still intact, and do they address how ICE is currently acting? That's the first one. So I'll give you time. The second one is, I'm interested in finding out what is the state of the county. There's the state of the union, and there's the state of, of the state. But I'd like to know, what is the state of the county? And the reason why I ask is that we can talk about all these priorities, but I don't know how they aligned with the issues that we're facing. I don't know how SNAP and Medicaid benefits are going to be affected when they cannot meet the work requirements, the loss of federal jobs, the loss of federal funding. So I'm just trying to find out what is the state of the county, and I'd like to have, and also, where can I find that data? And I got 14 seconds, so I'm about to go. You can answer, and I will sit over there.
You did good. I'll go to Councilmember Fisher first. Oh, ma'am, come back. Okay. Hello. Okay, you're going to see. That's okay. I just wanted you to hear the answer, so sometime. Okay. Hello. Oh, that's okay. So I'll take the ICE part, and then I'll make a brief comment about state of the county and the budget. So your question comes in the jurisdiction of my committee. Prince George's County does not work with ICE, period. End stop. I meet regularly with Chief Nader. We met last Friday to keep the council abreast of the different incidents that are going on. The county council wouldn't be, so there was a resolution. I want to shout out Councilmember Ivy and the council at that time, I think it was 2021, where they passed that we do not cooperate or work with ICE for all of our law enforcement, okay? All of it, corrections, sheriff, everybody. So I want that to be 100% clear. Everybody heard me and news cameras heard me. We do not work with ICE. The second part, last year, thank you, Chair Oriata, we passed a resolution that I brought forward. Anyone that works for the county, the schools, your DPI enforcement, anyone that you see with the seal is not allowed to engage with ICE or call ICE in the course of their work. So that was also passed last year, and they will have an ethics punishment, basically, if they do. That was in response to a Baltimore County school teacher calling ICE on children gathering and rallying in protest. I will say this year, Chair Oriata has been very busy this week. We are going to be meeting about a lot of council members put in different bills around this issue. There's a lot of it that I am working on. There's a lot of it that we're constrained on the local level on. So I'm going to be looking at those legislations coming through this year to see how much we can work with our law enforcement and make sure that that's a differential and that our residents are safe. And then to your second part of the question, it is typical that a county executive will do like a state of the county. Obviously, our county executive has been in for 130 days, and usually you'll see that in the summertime after budget, right? Because
when I'm in Annapolis on behalf of the county and you see the money that's dropped down, we can't figure out our money till they figure out their money. Does that make sense? So you really can't do like a state of the county right now because I don't know what's in the coffer for the next year until Annapolis passes its budget. And so then you'll see us, Madam Chair will lead that budget process. I think we wrap them in May, and you'll kind of be able to see that a bit more clearly, so I'm sure, but I'll let the other colleagues respond.
But we should have a state of the county, because we can find out what has happened even in 2025 and what the impact has been. And then you can forecast because things have changed in 2026. So that's
Yes,
one.
ma'am.
But hold up a second. And I do know that the state of Maryland at the legislative, both at the Senate and the House, are working on bills that will prevent or to rein in the activities of ICE, including ICE not wearing masks anymore. I do know that. I am just focusing on the law that the county passed several years
We
ago.
passed
And that's
that
why I was
before.
wondering, did it get re-examined while this is working, re-examined to see if those things were put into place? That's the only reason why I was asking that.
No, thank you for that. And to your exact point, we asked our policy team and our legislative impact team, which is a new team, to do just that. We asked them to evaluate every piece of legislation that we've passed around ICE, every neighboring jurisdiction's legislation, or just across the country, to make sure that we're doing every single thing we can. And we'll be having a package of legislation coming forward, just focusing on strengthening our laws on ICE. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
And did you have something? Okay, thank you.
Good evening. I'm Paul Howe. I'm from Colmar Manor. I'm in the Party for Social and Liberation. We've been organizing around data centers in Prince George's County. I work at a special education school, so I see it firsthand how at risk the health of our youth can be. I'm pissed that big tech wants to build a hyperscale data center in Landover near homes, churches, and small businesses. Here's why I'm pissed off. AI data centers emit a lot of water, air, light, and noise pollution. They increase the asthma and heart disease rates. They use tremendous amounts of energy and cause rolling blackouts and unaffordable energy bills. They require new polluting power plants, and AI data centers generate very few long-term jobs. Instead, it is an imperative that those in power prioritize the well-being, health, and livelihoods of our county residents. It's the billionaires that want to build the hyperscale data centers, but they don't want to live near it. We are not the billionaires' dumping ground, and we are not the billionaires' sacrifice zone. As I look around this room and the people I've talked to, I see people that we all have things in common. We want to thrive, and we want to see our children thrive. But building hyperscale data centers in Prince George's County takes that away from us. So we will always fight back against them, and we will always resist. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Adam Stafford.
Absolutely. Thank you for your comment. So you're in my district, and the Landover Mall site is just a stone's throw from my house. So you can imagine my surprise when I found out about the plans to bring that to that area, which is in a residential area. And you're right, it's about profit, and the concept that you would put something that large in that space next to homes and schools, it really would never work. They're not going to be able to get water, to get power to that site, and so that's why I was able to work directly with the county executive to put forward a pause on permitting to stop them from even going forward with the process. We were able to renew that pause, and they have not even applied for the next step because the voice of the community has been so loud. We said we do not want data centers in residential areas next to homes, schools, churches at all. And so I really think that as technology grows and we have these demands and these needs, we really have to think about how do we legislate to protect citizens. And that's why I've put forward legislation that I know that the chair is looking at. How do we ensure that any type of energy producing, apparatus we bring to the county, that those costs aren't passed on to our citizens, that people aren't going to suffer from environmental effects 10, 15, 20 years down the line. And so that's why that was a very unique situation, because there was the ability to build, but laws weren't in place, and they took advantage of that loophole. And so now, moving forward, I think it's really important that we put laws in place to protect the people that live here.
Thank you. And I'll just give kudos to Councilmember Adam Stafford. I remember when she called us colleagues and said she thought that this data center was coming to Landover. We're like, there's no way. Like, we haven't seen anything. And it was the alarm that let us know about legislation that had passed before we got elected that made it skip coming to us, skip the community. And she took swift action within, I think, the first 30 days of being elected to represent her community. And so that's just a prime example that the ballot box matters and you elected the right person. So, next question.
Thank you so much. Next, we will have Cameron Whitaker, Earl Davey, and Crystal Carpenter.
Good evening, you all. Again, my name is Cameron Whitaker, and tonight I'm here representing my employer, Food and Friends. Food and Friends is a community-based organization with a mission to improve the health of those living with serious illnesses such as cancer, kidney failure, and HIV/AIDS, who are unable to provide nourishment for themselves. We receive county funding, and some of you have spent time volunteering with us, so I want to thank you for that, and I want to thank Councilmember Adam Stafford, who I know will be working together soon. Food and Friends has a significant footprint in PG County through delivering meals to homes of vulnerable individuals. Last year, we provided over 540,000 meals to over 1,000 county residents. And since 1988, Food and Friends has been home delivering freshly prepared medically tailored meals, medically tailored groceries, and medical nutrition therapy to individuals living with serious and complex illnesses. We've been the leader in food as medicine. Our clients, they come to us referred by their healthcare providers, and the best thing about it, there's no charge to the client services. Because we're the only community-based organization in our region doing this work, we serve a life-saving need that no one else does. Our clients are acutely ill and therefore are often unable to take advantage of programs, of other nutrition support programs, or shop at a grocery store. 67% of our clients live off of less than $1,800 a month, and that adds further stress to their lives. So we rely on support from our neighbors of 4,500 volunteers, our donors, and especially public funding. And we're committed to maintaining uninterrupted service, and the support from the PG County Council is a key part of our ability to carry out our work. Medically tailored meals have been shown to reduce healthcare costs and help people get better. Our service makes a difference. We appreciate your support and our mission and look forward to additional shared efforts that meet the needs of the nutritionally vulnerable PG County residents. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good evening. My partner kind of took my thunder, so my name is Earl Davey, and I'm a volunteer at Food and Friends. And as he said before, since 1988, the mission of Food and Friends is to improve the lives of individuals who are living with serious illnesses to provide medically tailored meals and groceries. To accomplish this, of course, Food and Friends relies on volunteers to help with the meals, cooking the meals, and delivering them. And that's where I come in. I volunteered for Food and Friends for about 18 years. And I got started with volunteering when I was going through a personal difficult time in my life, and I needed to make some changes. That's when I remembered something that my mother told me many years ago. When you're feeling low, go help somebody. It makes a difference, okay? It was at that moment also that I just happened to be seeing in a newspaper an ad for Food and Friends. So it was like somebody was trying to talk to me and tell me something, and I took them up on it, so I signed up. When I'm in the kitchen, I volunteer 2 or 3 times a week. I work in the kitchen, cooking soup in a 125-gallon tank, in which I have to, once you've cooked it up, you have to transfer that 125 gallons of soup into 4-gallon containers, 1 gallon at a time. And trust me, that's a real workout. And usually I don't go to the gym after working in the kitchen that day. And when I'm not in the kitchen, I'm actually delivering. And I'm delivering meals to individual clients.
Your time is up. I
at their home.
apologize.
Thank you very
No,
much.
thank you for what you're doing.
My 2 minutes. Hello, my name is Crystal Carpenter. I'm a resident of District 5. I wear many hats and passions that people in this room may know me for, but one clear focus, which is racial justice across education, health equity, environmental justice, and criminal justice. I fight for communities that are marginalized and disenfranchised. Tonight, I am here to represent the Prince George's County Lynching Memorial Project, PGC-LMP, and to ask for the county's support for a critical piece of work. We're an all-volunteer, county-wide organization grounded in community and committed to truth. This initiative was established pursuant to state legislation and inspired by Brian Stevenson and his work with the Equal Justice Initiative in Montgomery, Alabama. Our mission is to educate the public about the truths and a legacy of slavery and racial terror, to memorialize the 4 documented victims of racial lynching in Prince George's County, and to advance racial justice and reconciliation through collective learning and collaboration. Brian Stevenson often reminds us, and I believe this deeply, that many of the injustices we confront today exist because we have failed to tell the truth about our history and to fully honor and respect the Black experience in our country and in this county. As part of this work, we invite you to the public, you and the public, to attend our free presentation, The Untold Story of the 1875 Lynching of Mr. John Henry Scott in Oxon Hill, on Saturday, February 21st at 11 a.m. at the Oxon Hill Library. I want to thank Council Members Olson, Harrison, and Ivey for the ways they have supported this initiative in the past. Our request tonight is for the county to support the installation of our historical marker signs for the 4 victims of racial terror lynchings that should be slated for spring 2026. All other jurisdictions in Maryland with racial terror lynching victims have installed the markers on behalf of lynching memorial projects like ours, but we need the council's support to move it forward, and we've been working on this initiative for 2 years.
Thank you.
Thank you, Crystal.
No, thank you.
Thank you. Our next 3 are Lucy Silver, Liz Nagonio, and Joa Schultz. Correction, Joe Johnson.
Hello, my name is Lucy, and I'm a very nervous person. I've also been sick. I'm going to try to get through this. I'm going to start by reading from an article entitled How AI Destroys Institutions by Woodrow Hartzog and Jessica Silby, both of the University
Can you
of...
pull your mic down just a little? Oh, there we go. Thank you.
Both of Boston University School of Law. Civic institutions, the rule of law, universities, and a free press are the backbone of democratic life. They are the mechanisms through which complex societies encourage cooperation and stability while also adapting to changing circumstances. The real superpower of institutions is their ability to evolve and adapt with a hierarchy of authority and a framework for roles and rules while maintaining legitimacy for knowledge produced and actions taken. Purpose-driven institutions built around transparency, cooperation, and accountability empower individuals to take intellectual risks and challenge the status quo. This happens through the machinations, the human machinations, of interpersonal relationships within those institutions, which broaden perspectives and strengthen shared commitment to civic good. In the article, they try to convince you of the simple and urgent point that the current design of artificial intelligence systems facilitates the degradation and destruction of our core civic institutions. Even if predictive and generative AI systems are not directly used to eradicate institutions, the systems by their nature weaken the institutions to the point of enfeeblement. AI used according to its design will progressively exact a toll upon the institutions that support modern democratic life. The more AI is deployed in our existing economic and social systems, the more the institutions will become ossified and delegitimized, regardless of whether tech companies intend this destruction. Thank you.
No, thank you.
Good evening, council members, fellow citizens, and I want to say congratulations to my former mayor, now current council member, Tim Adams. Congratulations, sir. I am here as both a member of the community and a co-founder of Indivisible Bowie and Beyond, working to bring justice, fairness, and equality to all. I'm here to talk about ICE. I want to thank all of you for what you've already put forth, that you will be doing, and what we've already done. I want to thank my other citizens here who have spoken about this. I am from an immigrant family. I have an adopted Latino immigrant family for whom I've been caring for almost 10 years now. They care for me too now. I am here to remark on how ICE, in spite of our agreements not to work with them, are in our communities, pulling people out of cars, banging on doors, stopping people on the Baltimore-Washington Parkway, which is under the jurisdiction of federal law enforcement. Our immigrant community members have lost family members, income. Their children are afraid to go to school. So what I'm here to ask you is, what are we collaboratively going to do to protect our community? I'm also asking that council members, if you haven't already, reach out to immigrant organizations like CASA and the ACLU of Maryland, who are working from within the immigrant community, and I see some nods, so I suspect that's happened, and how we as a team of residents, immigrant advocates, council members, state legislators, and even federal can work together. Thank you.
Thank you. And again, this is an important issue. We'll be coming with a package of legislation, but it's just not that legislation. We're also going to have to make sure that the organizations that are on the front lines of these issues, that are fighting for our communities, have the funding and the resources that they need and the support that they have. Many of us work with CASA. Councilmember Gay just launched a program for legal assistance. I will be also sponsoring virtual sessions, because a lot of people aren't going to want to come to an event to get legal assistance. So we'll have lawyers on the line virtually where people can be in a safer space to ask questions and get assistance. I just say this, we're going to have to all work together. What's happening nationally is disgusting. It's shameful. The America that my father decided to join, he's from Kenya, and he got his citizenship and voted for the first time for President Obama. That America is leaving us, and we're watching it. And so I thank you and every single person that came here to speak for maybe a community that you don't represent, because that's what it's going to take. All of us standing together, no matter if you're an immigrant or not, if you know an immigrant or not, because it's not about just the immigrants. They talk about it during the Holocaust. They came for everyone. I said nothing, but when they came for me, there was no one left to speak. And the reality is that we have to speak for everyone, because we don't know when they're going to come for you and when they're going to come for us. So thank you.
Good evening. My name is Joe Johnson. I live in the Palmer Park area. My questions are, is Palmer Park a residential area or commercial? Because the same thing is happening all the time. You get these construction people bringing all this heavy equipment back across the street, across the curve, park it in the yard. Nothing is being done. You got signs all over Palmer Park says, no stadium event parking without a permit. That don't work. You go down and you talk to the police department, they say it's not their plan, it's the parking. You go over there and talk to them, they don't know who's supposed to be in charge of this. It's happening all the time. You also have, like I say, it's a storage yard, a grocery yard, whatever. This guy got wood pallets all up in the trees right there at Harvey and Allendale. And how can you see when the police goes by there every day and you got all these supposed to be county enforcement people riding around over there several times during the week, I see them, but they're not doing a thing about it. So I'd like to know what's going to be done.
Councilmember Adam Stafford.
Thank you so much. I have a member of my team, Jennifer Page and Alexis Cohen. They're going to get your contact information. We do a lot of work in Palmer Park, and if you reach out to our office, we'll come immediately to support. But we're going to get your information right now. We'll come out there tomorrow and see what's going on and sit down with you and figure out which agencies we need to engage. That's not a problem. So Alexis can get your information right now. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next, we will have Taylor Frazier Mosella, Chauncey.
They said Deepa is here?
Chauncey M. and Dewan Dalton.
All right, I won't take up too much of you guys' time because I know I spoke already, but I'm not here tonight for a response. I just want to speak on some things that were spoken on February 3rd. There's a Maoist saying, no investigation, no right to speak, which means to me the less you have personal experience with the subject, the less you should speak on that subject. When at the listening session on February 3rd, Councilwoman Fisher told us that increasing the police budget by $30 million for 2026 was to ensure the humane treatment of residents when interacting with the police. She made it about the safety of residents and officers. Well, as someone who has been arrested during a mental health episode and gone through Maryland Mental Health Court, I have a right to speak, and there's more to be desired. Don't get me wrong, I understand the importance of public safety, but how can we justify a nearly $30 million increase in the 2026 budget when police response times are continuing to trend upward? The average police priority response time in 2022 was bad at over 9 minutes, but in 2026 we expect response times to be almost 11 minutes. In a life or death situation, neighboring police response times in counties like Montgomery are sitting at half that. What are we doing to work towards decreasing response times if we really want to humanely treat emergencies? The police budget states that low staffing is an issue. We have lost almost 200 officers since 2022. Reading the 30-page document, I see that property crimes response times are much higher at 14 minutes. What is being done to correct this? During my deep dive into the budget, I realized that the Department of Corrections budget is separate from the police budget. If we want to look at humane treatment of residents, we must evaluate the corrections budget. We are cutting over $1 million from the Department of Corrections. I'm glad renovations to Units 5 and 6 will be completed this year, and I applaud the focus on food and nutrition in our jails because the meal plan was deplorable. But what funds are being used to focus on fair treatment of those in our community who have faced challenges with mental health that led to their arrest? How are we addressing the issues of those in the jail psychiatric ward not having access to proper clothing, bedding, or medical care? I know these things from personal experience. I went without sanitary products in PG County Jail and was pinned down by correction officers where it was hard to breathe. I couldn't stand to eat boiled eggs and oatmeal without sugar or salt, so oftentimes I didn't eat. But I get jail should not be a luxurious environment, but shower products, clean clothes, and blankets should not be hard to come by. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Fisher.
Well, great job getting all that in your 2 minutes. I will say, on the first part, yes, in my leadership of Health and Human Services, the budget for our law enforcement has increased steadily as the needs have increased for PGPD. I know when you all call 911, you want a response. I want to say I'm super proud of our Director Gomez. We have no vacancies now finally in our 911 call center. I just want you all to know, not one. So when you call, someone's picking up the phone. And I will say when it comes to law enforcement, it's important to remember I'm looking at not only how to recruit in the region, right, with bonuses, I have to pay for pension. And so it's a cost, and then when we don't recruit enough, a lot is paid in overtime, which I don't love, but it's the truth when it comes to how to keep our communities safe with overtime when I don't have enough men and women to not only be on the street, remember they're also going to court to testify. Okay, so that's on that part. The second point when you talked about the jail is an amazing point. I'm at the jail often as a defense attorney, not as a defendant, thank God, but I will say to you that I want to highlight Chair Oriada's work on the food. She had legislation on the food and the quality of life in the jail. Director Clark and I have been working together. Director Clark is the head of corrections, so the jail facilities under his purview on those improvements. We were at that time stuck in a contract. So when the county ends up with a contract for food, you have to see the end of that contract. And I know we are both taking Chair Oriada's perspective in mind as when he looks to renew that contract. So I can get you the specifics on that. And did I miss anything else, Madam Chair? So Health and Human Services and Public Safety meets on Thursdays. So you can also, all council committees are on Thursdays. So when they're posted, we'll be having budget hearings. So each agency will come. So I encourage, engagement there as well. It's a better forum to get into the details of these type of things. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Hello, I'm Chauncey McCamey. I'm here 'cause I'm a retired person. I mean, a couple of years back, the county said, okay, we're going to give the seniors a break on the property tax to help us out. Took advantage of that the first year. It worked great. But I was working. Now I'm not working. So they said, oh, your property is too much, so you can't have the break no more. So I'm trying to figure out what happened. And number two is, this snow we had, they just plowed my street yesterday. What happened? 'Cause it's never been more than 3 days. So I'm not going to have a whole lot of talking. So y'all got time.
No, thank you. For the senior tax credit, so probably the reason why is that it was halted. A lot of you remember we had been, I'll give credit where credit's due, Councilmember Burrows had been working on the senior tax credit before some of us were even elected. But then issues came around the cost. And so at the time, the interim county executive, Tara Jackson, had worked to hold the implementation of the senior tax credit and asked for an extension because of where the deficit was at that time. Now, at that point, I think they were looking at $174 million deficit. We had a state of the economy briefing before us during our retreat. That deficit is now lower to $58 million. So we're going in the right direction. So I think we'll have an opportunity to reevaluate and look at the senior tax credit because I and so many of my colleagues agree with you that for our seniors especially that are not working, that are now on a fixed income, they can't afford their taxes the way they are, and they've already paid their due. And how can we assist them? And so that is a top priority for us. And yes, and then the second part of your question about the snow removal, we will, as we talked about earlier, be having it came up at the beginning. One of the roles of the council is oversight. So exactly what you're asking, what happened, and how can we make it better, that's one of the things that we will be doing. At the last town hall, it was an issue where someone that night hadn't been plowed, and we talked to the director directly in that evening and got it done. So we want to be advocates for you all. Please continue to reach out to our offices. Let us know if your community or your street has not been done so that we can escalate it. We don't have access to like the back door. We don't see your 311 requests. We don't know when you put something in the system. We only know when you reach out to our offices, so then we can escalate it. We're not connected to the agencies in that way so that our offices can see it in real time.
Yeah, so I've been in my property since 1970.
Yes, sir.
And I've been paying them property taxes every year.
Yes, sir.
So I kind of feel like I done paid my dues.
Yes.
So at a certain time, give me a break, because I'm hearing about we got to do this for the kids, that for the kids, these for the, everybody needs something. But I'm not asking for nothing. I just want to survive. And that's it.
No, thank you for that.
Good evening. First and foremost, let me thank you, Chair, for allowing us to have a moment where we can talk to you and you can respond in real time. I think that's one of the things that we have been missing when it comes to us actually having interaction with our legislators. We need to interact. Two things. I'm very, very happy to see, and I would like to have a conversation with my Councilwoman Hunter. Now that I see you are in place, I live in Perrywood, so I would really like to talk to you. Glad to hear that you have a passion for young people, because my organization, the Just Us Initiative, deals with the youth and the criminal justice system. I want to flag one thing that my partner brought up earlier this evening, the Cannabis Reinvestment Act. I think it's very, very important that we focus on the fact that this legislation was passed in 2023. We are in 2026. We have young people that are struggling. We have families that are struggling. There are so many resources that we could provide to our community members if these funds were made available to our community. And I'm sorry, the excuses, we don't want to hear it. We would appreciate very much that this become a priority, because they're in Annapolis criminalizing our kids. If I was an individual who my car was stolen or I was robbed or what have you, right, I would be upset too. But what are we doing to correct the problem and provide services to our young people and their families to correct these issues? They need help. They need hope. So, no offense, please, let's just jump on it. I don't want to hear in another month that there was another holdup. We need to get answers right now. I will be reaching out to you, my friend, just to see where we are, because this is very, very important, and we don't want to hear any more excuses. So I thank you for your time.
No, I 100% agree. It's the reason I passed the legislation. It's the reason I fought for it. It's the reason I asked every single county executive to push their appointments forward, because there's money on the table, and like you said, there's a huge need. And we need to make sure that the money gets into the hands of the organizations, the businesses, the community, so it can see results. I apologize, Councilmember Adam Stafford.
Yes, and here in District 5, we have to make sure that everyone pays their fair share. The commanders have been here in our community, and they owe us some money. They owe us some money. There is money that is part of a local impact grant that they did not pay during the pandemic. They had a waiver, but the pandemic has been over, and there have been many concerts there, haven't they? Beyonce's been there, Kendrick. So they have some money that we need to collect, and so that's something my office has been working on, getting that money back from the state so we can use it for just what you're saying. And so that's something we're looking forward to dispersing that into the community very soon.
We would greatly appreciate that, and also, like I said, this interaction is very important, because we couldn't get this interaction if we were in the county council building. You know what I'm saying, right? And lastly, one more thing. My organization just presented a bill in Annapolis, HB 336, dealing with the criminal justice system, false charging, and the commissioner's office. So I'm happy to have a conversation with you after, after this event. But we got to get it together, people. We really do.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next, we have Joshua Damalura, Lena Branch, and Kathy Edwards.
And we've been joined by another council member representing at large, Councilmember Walla Begay. I'll let her introduce herself, and then we'll move on to your question.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. I do apologize. I'm late. I'm usually not this late, but I had a conflict today. But I wanted to make sure, even if it was for 10, 15 minutes, that I would be in here. I see a lot of the familiar faces. I know some folks will say you're no longer District 6, but I am still representing you. So I just want to thank you all so much for giving us this opportunity, and thank the chair for making sure that you're engaging the community at a very difficult time. I know many of you have reached out to our office about the snow removal. Just understand anybody who reached out to us, I know a couple of people I saw in the hallway, we sent the 311 request over to DPWT. And we are waiting to hear. We got back. They said that they were going to follow up with everyone. So if you didn't hear back from my office or you didn't hear back from anyone, please let us know. But we did inquire about every 311 request to DPWT. So we did our part to make sure. We are trying to make sure that everything is done. And I'm pretty sure the snow removal was covered already. But I just want to let you know, I did catch a couple folks say, we sent you something and we got it. So thank you.
Good evening, Chair and Council. My name is Josh Namalira. I'm a resident of District 2 for the last 10 years, and I'm a member of the Party of Socialism and Liberation, one of the groups organizing the No Data Center in Landover campaign. I'm here to speak about my concerns about the hyperscale AI data center in PG County. I was at the task force community meeting last October, and most of the conversations that I had or heard raised concerns about how harmful building an AI data center would be for PG County. Residents brought up the few very long-term jobs that these data centers would bring with concerns about whether PG residents would access those jobs. Residents brought up how data centers would increase energy bills and how unaffordable they would be for residents. Residents brought up how AI data centers would cause surges in water pollution and air pollution that cause long-term health issues, leaving children and residents with pre-existing conditions vulnerable. One of the residents from the October meeting rightfully pointed out that these projects often target Black and brown communities like Landover, a clear case of environmental racism. I'd also add that these AI data centers shouldn't just be banned in residential zones, but also anywhere in the county, rural or otherwise. While the current moratorium is a step in the right direction, I'd like the county chair and council and members to permanently ban hyperscale data centers in the county. I'd like the council to prioritize people over billionaires, big tech, and profit. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Lena Branch, L-E-N-A. I'm here to speak on the residents that are forgotten about, and those are the residents in the nursing facilities. And my father is one of those residents. He is his health care is always neglected. Last week, well, I always visit my father on a regular, except last week because my street wasn't plowed. To this day, still not plowed. I was not able to visit my father until the end of last week. And when I found my father, he was laying on dirty linen, gown dirty, and to top it off, I had to take my father to the ER. He had a UTI. No one at the nursing facility even noticed that, which, let me remind you, when a UTI go unnoticed, a person died. A person could die. So I propose that the owners of the nursing facilities, that they be fined. I propose that the workers there, they need to be trained. And I will start with sensory training. And what do I need? I need in-home health care aid so I can bring my father home. Thank you, a broken-hearted daughter.
Thank you. Councilmember Bourget.
Thank you so much. We're definitely are going to start focusing on nursing homes. I want to tell you, part of our focus has been on primary care, and that's come up that the number of nursing homes that we have in the county, we do need to pay more attention to them to help us. And I will say this, we also need to support our caregivers more. We do realize that a lot of people in this room here are caregivers and feel that they're not getting enough support. We do have limited resources, but we're going to work with you all. So we do appreciate that, and I'll make sure that I work with the chair to put that on the agenda of the Board of Health. Thanks.
Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you to our councilman and council.
I apologize.
Oh,
Can you say what street you lived on?
F-I-N-C-H.
What city? What's the nursing home name? That's in her district. Okay, we're coming. Did you put in a 311 request? You have the tracking number? Okay, Alexis is coming over now, and DPNWT, I believe, is in here too, so let's figure it out.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry about that.
Thank you. Good evening to our councilmen and councilwomen of Prince George's County for opening the floor for residents to speak. My name is Kathy Edwards, and I am a lifelong resident of Prince George's County, currently residing in the city of Bowie. Greetings, Mayor Adams. Being that I have a child in college and 2 seniors in high school, my suggestion is a purely selfless zoning concern. I would like to see this county invest in infrastructure that supports the current growing communities rather than growing more communities. Now is the perfect time to use the property formerly used as Six Flags of America amusement park to turn inward and build a high school complex that supports the surrounding communities. I would also propose that the county considers incorporating an accompanying trade school to include a wide array of fields, such as physical therapy technician, phlebotomy, automotive mechanics, medical assisting, carpentry, and the like. This is not a novel idea. Our fellow Maryland County, Calvert County, has a model that we can look to adopt, adapt, and adjust to our population. Preparing our youth early on in the trades will provide a healthy and equitable balance to the college readiness and STEM programs that are already in existence in our gorgeous Prince George's County. I am not only a voice in this matter, but I'm willing to put action and support behind any committee efforts that need to take place in order to execute this initiative. Thank you for your time.
I just wanted to mention...
Councilmember Adam Stafford.
Thank you so much. The Education Workforce Development Committee, we are going to be focusing on this particular issue of career technological education and how we can prepare students for the workforce. And that's going to be a central focus of ours throughout this year, so we'd love to connect with you on that. And also, you know, it's important for people to know District 5, this area, Lanham, is the home of basically all of the building trades of Maryland. This is where their headquarters are. And so we have so many apprenticeship programs and youth journeyman programs that so many people don't know about. And really what we're trying to do is figure out how to push those programs into the schools, just like we do for dual college and dual enrollment.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Next, we have Milan Williams, Kevin Doby, and Malia McDuffie.
Good evening. My name is Milan Williams. I live in District 5, and I just wanted to raise awareness and to possibly just give a suggestion. Give a suggestion about 311. For the snow that did happen, the cul-de-sacs are the last priority. And so we were literally trapped, and my neighborhood has a lot of elderly people, and I've been there for about 20 years or so myself, but I'm a youngster in the cul-de-sac, so I had to help them out as well. So I was wondering if there was a suggestion. Well, my suggestion for the app would be to expand the app to have functions like, instead of it just having open and closed, to in progress, or it's been assigned, and we can actually contact someone that it has been assigned to. And I was wondering as well if there can be some metrics tracked for like the frequency of the updates or time reporting and resolutions as well, so then we can escalate any type of emergencies that do happen. So in my cul-de-sac specifically, well, my whole community on Crandall Crossing, no emergency vehicles can get through. The mail hasn't been delivered for a week. Trash hasn't been picked up or anything like that, so I think that's a huge concern. I would like to connect with you, Councilmember Shayla Adams Stanford, just about economic development, especially when it comes to startup businesses as well, because I'm a serial entrepreneur myself. So I just wanted to raise awareness for just the cul-de-sacs in particular, how we can make that a bigger priority, and then economic development for startup businesses in our community.
Thank you. Shayla Adams Stafford.
Thank you so much. I agree. We have to do better with residential plowing, and I think that that's something that after this snowstorm, I know that the administration is going to be thinking about how to do that better. We want to get your contact information. My colleagues are going to come get that information from you really quickly. But one of the things that we're going to be thinking about is kind of equity in our response to events, natural disasters like that. How can we identify people that are in vulnerable communities and use data to target them first? And so that's something that I know my colleagues and I are working on, and I have some legislation that will be coming forward around that as well. So
Perfect.
Jen is going to connect with you right now.
Perfect. I'm a data person too, so I love numbers.
Okay, great. Go right there.
Thanks.
Hi, my name is Malia, and the other day my mom was driving me home from school, which is like right up the street, and we hit a bad pothole, and it seems to get worse from the recent ice and snow. And my question was just, what can the council do about the potholes?
Thank you. Great question. You did a great job. I'll go to your council member, Shayla Adams Stafford.
Yes, thank you so much for thank you for being here after being at a full day of school and advocating for your community. Let's give her another round of applause. That's wonderful. Well, first thing, we have our constituent services. You can reach out to my office. She's right behind you. This is Miss Jennifer Page. You're going to tell us the exact address, and what we'll do is connect with our Department of Public Works. We'll find out if it was in the city or if it was in the county, and then we'll get the right people to come out there and figure out how quickly we can fill that pothole. Okay? So we're going to work on that tonight. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for your time.
Okay.
Good evening, Council. My name is Kevin Dobie. I live in the city of Glenarden here in District 5. I know most of you. I've broken bread with a lot of you. I see a lot of familiar faces in this room, and I hear a lot of concerns. I am a full-time farmer. I work in Upper Marlboro. Upper Marlboro is becoming known as the Black Agrarian Corridor. But we really need our community's support. I guarantee you that everybody in this room has eaten something today and will eat something later. But you really have to ask yourself, where did it come from? Was it healthy? Who grew this food? There are people that are close to you, that walk among you, that have a desire to sustain and feed you and help you, fuel your dreams, really. And investing in farming can answer a lot of the challenges that we face. You talk about economic development. Okay, the farming and agricultural industry is one of the few industries that are looking to hire human workers and incorporate technology. We are here. And so I ask you, in short, to support your local farmers and support the organizations and institutions that are training our young people to get into this industry. The desire is there. The willpower is there. We are here. I stand before you as proof. And so for a bit of a shameless plug, the name of my farm is Purple Mountain Grown. You can find us on purplemountaingrown.com. We grow primarily beans and rice. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you, in Upper Marlboro, we're growing a complete plate. 98% of the food that I eat is grown here in Maryland. And that can be your reality too. So I thank all of you for your time. I look forward to, seeing all these positive faces in the council. Mayor Adams, or Councilmember Adams, I've worked with you before, and I'm really excited to see you here tonight, and I'm looking forward to working with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Blagay.
Well, thank you so much. How many heard of my legislation, Food is Medicine? Well, we have to get the word out. But what we did was that we found out that healthy food is one of the biggest issues in Prince George's County. When they say people, the number one killer in Prince George's County really is not gun violence. Don't let anyone tell you that. But it is heart disease. So we actually created the program Food is Medicine. I did healthy restaurants last year to try to incentivize healthy restaurants to come. But the point of the Food is Medicine is to connect our farmers, our fresh food to the tables to address food insecurity and healthcare in our community. That was passed by, all of my colleagues supported it. That bill was passed, and it was actually being implemented. They're working on implementing it, so we will be probably, I think within, maybe in the next month or two, you will see an announcement of the program, beginning the program. We have a task force connected to it. But the idea is that we have a lot of farmers in Upper Marlboro. We talked about Upper Marlboro. We have a lot of farmers. Mr. Zama, who I've worked with, he has a farm there, Asawana Farms, and we need to connect those farmers to our tables there to address the concern of the food swamps that we are in right now. So thank you so much. I look forward to working with you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next, we will have Kathy Bartolo, Gail Harris-Berry, and Nat Lewis.
Hi, thank you for having this hearing, this session. The county, I'm Kathy Bartolomeo. The county council must have a moratorium until at least the state's data center study is completed. At this time, there's a push in investors using billions of dollars to get data centers in Maryland. These investors are not considering the health impacts from the environmental justice impacts, noise, air, water, and they don't live here. For the last 12 months, Frederick County communities are facing investors buying up ag land, raising the prices of acreage, and making quick changes in our zoning to fast-track data centers, just as happened here in our county with Darrell Barnes. Montgomery County and Howard County are also having hearings pushback on data centers. Keep in mind, data centers and AI could very well become obsolete in a few years. The county council needs to develop, and the county executive need to develop other solutions for revenue. Keep in mind, ICE is using facial recognition, data gathering, collection, abducting children, holding them in detention centers with lack of food, proper food, and water, creating terror, killing, injuring people. This is the same as being done by the Israelis to the Palestinian people. And sadly, we have most of Congress taking AIPAC money. I'm going to ask Walla Blagay, I've asked 2 emails to you. If you were to become elected to the representative, we already have most of Congress, Hoyer and Ivey, take AIPAC money. Would you take AIPAC money? And would you sign HB 3565 and HB 876?
I'm going to talk to you, but I can't talk about anything about the congressional thing at this meeting because this is a council meeting.
All right, thank you.
But I did respond to your email.
Oh, you did? Okay, I will look for that. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you, Councilmember Blagay, for understanding the separation. Appreciate it.
Good evening. My name is Reverend Gail Harris-Berry. One, I want to first thank Jolene Ivey for being here. Good to see you. I am from District 5, so I'm glad to be introduced to my new council member as well. A couple of things. One, I'm great that you all are having this. I didn't receive the notice until today. I got the first mail since we've had the snowstorm, so I had to jump in my clothes and get here, but I'm grateful. Because some of the things that were my concerns have been addressed just because of listening and hearing what other people have brought before you on this evening. But I live on Eli Place, which is right off of the service road. And as Jolene knows, I've spoken before the county before to get issues resolved over there, and I'm grateful for what she has done. However, because we are on a service road, oftentimes we too are neglected, and when they do show up, what's been a hazard is the plows will plow the street and plow our street in. And I've had to call the police in order for us to be able to get out because when they plow, they cover our street entrance. And so last week I too have elderly parents that live in the county in another district. And so I just had to jump on top of the snow and roll out in my car. to go see about them, go to the store and things of that nature. And so we didn't get trash collected either. Now, the county posted that we were on a 2-day slide and for us to put the trash out on Monday if our regular day was Friday, which we did. Well, it's still there. No one has showed up. So that's that. And then I did want to mention about heart disease being, this is Heart Month as well. As you see, I'm wearing my survivor cap. I'm a 5-time heart survivor, and I spoke in 2017 to get the unanimous legislation that you all passed for the healthy vending machines and the sugary-free drinks. And I wanted to know what was being done. So I'm grateful to hear that you have this new initiative, the Food is Medicine, because I wasn't aware of that. And lastly, I want to say tomorrow is National Go Red. So everybody in this county, would you please rock your red?
Thank you. Councilmember Jeffrey?
We're going to come get your contact information. And one thing we are putting forward, I know I'm putting forward some legislation around banning red dye 40 in our schools from being sold to our children. Red dye 40 is, basically an artificial coloring that has led to so many different side effects for young children. When you were talking about legislation around food and trying to ban feel-free drinks. Are you guys familiar with these feel-free drink shots that they have at the gas station? They're highly addictive, and so we need to get those banned. And so that's another piece of legislation we're putting forward around food and beverage. And Jen is going to get your contact information.
Thank you.
Good evening, Council. My name is Nat Lewis. I'm a retired professional golfer. And when I came off of tour, I decided to take everything that I knew and put it in the next generation. I started with my grandson at the Enterprise Golf Course, and then I started with 2 other kids. They joined us, and we were having a good time over there. But one of the kids, the youngest one, he took me seriously. And he went out and started winning golf tournaments, and he had just started playing golf. This kid has only been playing golf about 4.5 years. Already, he has more than 15 wins under his belt, and he's not even 16 years old. But yet, I go down to, I've been called to come down to, I think it's Anne Arundel County, Davisonville, to teach the kids down there. And I told the parents down there, I said, you can ask me anything you want to about golf. I'll let you know. After the second lesson, one parent asked me, who do we pay? I said, I don't know. I don't charge for this. But yet, when I go to the Enterprise Golf Course to teach our kids in our community, I'm threatened with police actions taken against me for giving free golf tips to kids at Flowers High School, Largo High School, and kids in my neighborhood. Free golf tips. I can't do it at any of the county-run golf courses that's run by Park and Planning. Mm-hmm. And that's why I'm here today. We need reform in Park and Planning, because we have tried to get them to change. They won't change.
Thank you.
Thank you, Walla Begay, for helping us, and Senator Benson. They helped us. But
Thank you. I don't know, Councilmember Begay has something she'd like to say.
Yes, thank you so much for bringing that up. There were concerns with many of the golfers, and thank you so much for coming to us. I thought that you met with the chairman and things were resolved because we saw new leadership will allow new change. If you get back with me, text me, and then I'll talk to you so we could resolve it, because I thought we met with everyone and we want to make sure, and I know that there are some legalities with training, but we do want to make it easier, because I know many of you I might not know, his group here, these are trainers of golf that were trained all over the world, and they live right in our community. So let's give them a hand of applause for that. because we really are blessed to have people who are known in their trade like that across the world and across nationally that live right in our community. So I'll follow up with you to make sure to see. I thought that some of those things were resolved, and when I spoke with Chairman Barnes,
No.
he said he was meeting with you all to resolve it. So if not, that has not been resolved, we will go back to the table. Thank you.
And if I may say, I think what it seems as though you like to offer these courses for free or a low cost for children. Is that what you're saying? It's for you want to offer them at no
It's
cost.
free.
Oh,
Well,
you want to offer
excuse
them
me,
for free.
excuse me. They do have to pay. They don't have to pay a dime, but it's free.
Okay. Well, all I have to say is I do think that we
No,
do
what I'm
need to
saying
lower
is-
the cost of the courses from Parks and Planning, but it seems as though if you were to start a nonprofit, or I'm not sure if you have one, but if the nonprofit offered these courses for free, I'm sure that they could work out an arrangement where you're able to use the golf
I used to
courses
do it
for-
for Park and Planning for free.
Yeah, I think you have to have a specific structure that will allow you to then use the courses. I know that there are probably many organizations that work with youth to teach them a sport for free, but in order to use their facilities, you probably have to be registered in that way. But I think we can help you with that.
I'm a certified first tee instructor.
But I think in order to, that little caveat of having like a nonprofit or a business, I think that's the key piece here that'll enable you to use their premises and still complete your mission of giving it for free. I think we can help you though.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for your patience. Jeffrey Collins, Jason B., Youth Programs, and Cynthia Gray.
Good evening. My name's Jeffrey Collins. I'm a resident of the Brock Hills subdivision off of Route 202 in Upper Marlboro, which is in County Council District 6. Congratulations, Council Member Hunter, and also to Council Members Adams and Blagay. And to everyone up front, you do good work. I lead the Route 202 Neighborhood Coalition. It's an organization dedicated to advocating for smart growth policies and opposing ill-advised rampant development outside the Beltway, Route 202, into the town of Upper Marlboro. I'm here tonight to voice strong opposition to a proposed industrial rezoning that's being floated by Total Civil Construction owner Greg DeWeese for 41 acres in Upper Marlboro, located at Route 202, Celestial Court, and Buck Lane, about a half-mile north of the town of Upper Marlboro. The rezoning of the acreage from residential to industrial is necessary for DeWeese in order to submit a proposal for a major 63-acre industrial expansion, for which he's seeking approval from our planning board and district council. To the point, I've been informed by Council Member Blagay some months ago that the county executive is in support of this plan. We have serious concerns about the plan in terms of the flooding that would occur or be exacerbated in the town of Upper Marlboro, also exacerbating traffic on Route 202, and finally, a solution. Maintain the residential zoning. Bottom line, let's find a location for
Thank
DeWeese to build his expansion plan.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Jason Borsico. I'm very familiar with everybody on the council. I just want to say thank you guys for the tremendous job that you guys are doing. Advocacy is hard, and I appreciate each and every single one of you guys and the roles that you guys do play in the county. So a little bit about myself. I have an organization called Grind Hard, Dream Big. The harder you grind, the bigger you dream, where we empower youth through positive words and actions, middle schoolers and high schoolers. Our program, we teach mental health, social media, public speaking, money management, social advocacy, creative writing, film, photography, and podcasting. And my question is to the county, is there any way to partner or have funding for programs? Because a lot of young people, they're not heard and they're not seen. And when it comes to community service hours, a lot of them are dropping the ball on that because they don't have a lot of resources or places to go to get it. And I'm finding myself being an advocate for them. So that was my question to you all. Is there funding in the county, and how would I go about getting that?
No, thank you. One, you're an amazing teacher. And
Thank you.
for all the work that you do.
I
don't know
appreciate
if
it.
he's
Thank
a
you.
Teacher in my district. But yeah, there's a lot of opportunities for funding. So there's different pots. Like on the council, there's a pot called NOND. And so that's a pot that it's usually larger, and it's led by the chair of the council for that fiscal year with input from the other council members. Then each council district has traditionally $100,000. One year there was an outlier where it was more, but usually every single office has another $100,000 special appropriation grant. Each of their offices you can apply. When you apply, you can check all offices. So you can do like one application and every office will get the same application. Then every office can do sponsorships. So sometimes they sponsor events, but they can still be youth-focused events. Like I've sponsored summer camps or field trips and things of that nature. Then the county executive has a pot of funding as well. So there's grants through the county executive's office. And then you could also do more vendor contracts with park and planning if you have like a service that's youth-focused. And then now you know, teachers, the budget used to be where a lot of the community school dollars were on the in central office, but now every principal has funding, and they can use that funding for like after-school programming, and so there's a lot of discretion there. So those are the pots of funding that are just dedicated to grants.
Thank you very much, and hopefully we continue to do work. Currently, we're doing work in District 5, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good evening. Should I wait till it resets? Okay. Good evening. My name is Cynthia Gray. I am in District 5. I know a lot of topics were covered that are very important today, and I know my councilwoman, Shayla, works very hard in our district, and I don't want to discount that at all. But I really want to address and would like more specific answers to the issue in front of us, and that is this snow. I know we've talked about it being a different type of snow that happened this year, but I want to know, have we identified where the miss is, and do we have an action plan to have snow removal so we can get our roads back to 2-3 lanes as they should be?
So I'll start with that. Yes, we will be having there's two things. Going back to, we do oversight. So one of the most important things is for us to bring everyone to the table when it's fresh, so we can go over what went wrong, what things were missed, how do we fix systems, and we can change it. So we've already talked to the county executive. She plans on doing a task force and then also looking at it regionally so we can learn from some of our other jurisdictions what worked for them that could work for us. So we're doing both of those things. We are also, so it's laid out in phases. So right now they've been focusing on, like they mentioned, the primary, secondary, and the main streets. But you're right, now then there's a next phase of the snow and how do we remove the mounds of it. And so traditionally it has not been the issue we have before us. Usually we'd have warm weather, it'd melt. So we're going to have to look at what some other jurisdictions are doing. Some are hauling, some are getting warming tanks where they're literally putting the ice in so it can melt that way. So we'll be having to have a meeting with the Department of Public Works and Transportation to see what their plan is to do just what you said, because Mother Nature is not helping us and it's not melting quickly. So we're going to have to look at proactive models like other jurisdictions are to remove the snow. and I didn't know if...
May I just add one more thing? I'm sorry, before my time is up.
Oh, no, you can... We took your time now, so don't worry about that, but you can ask another thing.
I think the other piece, too, is I have a good understanding of who's responsible for roads and communities and things of that sort, specifically like with District 5. And I think for my community, there's room for, I guess there is a lack of funding, right? So I know my community is not unique to that. And because our HOA is responsible for that, is there room for emergency type of funding to assist communities that can't afford to clean up properly within their community as far as snow removal, where it's still, not allowing really passability? Well, passability is so vague, right? What is passability? You can run your car through it, but it's still, damaging our property or not letting us go in and out, not letting cars two-lane streets.
Yes, I don't think that there is funding right now for the county to fund HOAs that are unable to plow effectively or efficiently. But one of the things that we are looking at in terms of legislation is having the county ensure that all HOAs have emergency preparedness training and emergency preparedness support, and that could come with funding. But like Chair Oriata has said, after this entire snowstorm, once we're able to sit down and evaluate what the challenges have been, I know many of us are already thinking about legislation that will enable us to do this in a more equitable way, in a quicker way, but also to use new technology. So we've already started to look at what are they doing in Syracuse, what are they doing in Canada, like what are some of the investments that we have to make so that we can haul large loads of ice, because we've never had to deal with that necessarily here before. And so extreme weather events are only going to get worse over time, and so we actually have to invest in the proper infrastructure and technology to be able to support smaller HOAs like that. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone, for your patience. And I would ask that we continue to be courteous as possible, not only to our council members, but to those who have waited so long to ask their question. Thank you so much. Next will be Kenneth Fish, Lauren Massey, and Noah Waters. We are nearing the end. Thank you so much.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Kenneth, and I live in District 6. Many residents want to stay civically engaged, but feel unsure where their voice truly matters, especially when they've provided repeated feedback on development issues and the county is still unprepared for predictable events like the recent snowstorm. How is the county ensuring that community input and lessons learned are genuinely reflected in planning and decision-making moving forward?
Thank you for your question. So a couple of things. The county executive and the task force that she's planning on putting together, she's already mentioned that it's important for it to be representative of residents. So not just putting the agencies at the table, but the community, because the community is the closest to the issues and concerns that they're seeing, so that they have an actual voice in voicing the concerns. I think that we're going to have to look at it from a regional perspective as well, looking at neighboring jurisdictions, learning from how their strategy worked. Not everything's going to work for us, but there might be things that we can learn from other jurisdictions. And I think the most important thing is going to be doing it right after. Sometimes the planning can start like close to winter versus it's just actually start right after the incident, so that we're fresh with all of the data points. And then also I think we can learn a lot from talking to the people on the ground, like our contractors and the vendors. And so that's something that we're all meeting about now and plan on implementing as soon as we get out of it. We're still in it at the moment, but as soon as we're out of it in a way that we can sit down and huddle.
Well, may I ask this follow-up then?
Sure.
So last year, Councilwoman Begay, she had a series on the snowstorm, and she gave us a lot of information that taught us which one was county roads and state roads and everything, and something similar was said then. So how are you all now able to learn that lesson and take the knowledge that you presented to us to apply it now?
Yeah, so there's two parts, right? So to your point, I think there were some things that Department of Public Works and Transportation did learn from the last incident and implemented. But I think the biggest issue that this being from a snow to an ice and the preparedness to deal with this level of storm, and now mapping out a plan that if it's not just regular ice, if we do not have warming temperatures, and being prepared for that type of plan. And so I think it's a constant growing from state of emergencies, because when an emergency is different, you have to then say, okay, these are new nuances that we need to account for that we might not have accounted for. A prime example is that they had maybe 158 more plows than they did last year. So that was an increase and a lesson learned. But then the issue we had, here's a learning point, that we should have done a better job about re-engaging people about the even side of the roads. We could have done a way better campaign. We can't just lean on that. It's historically always the even side of the roads. People should know that. So that delayed so many roads by the machine coming down, and they're like, we can't use this one. Now it's back in the queue. A smaller one has to come around. And so those are things like, how do we do better with just that basic communication? So I think that there's things that they did learn from the last incident, but there's things that they're going to have to learn from this one.
And even though I'm sorry.
So, no, finish your thought, and then I'll pass it on.
And I wasn't here at the time, but a lot of people referenced the blizzard of '96, and so since that was something that was astronomical, then I felt like, I feel like that should have been a marker to understand, okay, this is what extreme looks like. So why not take the emergency preparedness of something like that in that magnitude and apply it to this particular situation? Because in my neighborhood, we have county roads and we also have private roads, and so my HOA had to step in and use reserve to plow because the county wasn't able to do what they were supposed to do.
Thank you. And Councilmember Ivy?
There's ongoing communication between the county and the residents, but you have to be a part of it. And it's called community partners. And if you go to the community partners meeting, and some of them are virtual, you have an opportunity to routinely talk to the agencies and know what's going on. And if you miss the meetings, you can watch the tape. So that's something you should jot down, community partners, and just look it up. We'd love to have you be a part of it.
Thank you all for your time.
Hello, my name is Lauren Massey, and I live in Coral Hills, District 7. I'm here tonight because I have plans tomorrow night, and I can't do tomorrow. So overall, I'm pretty happy with living in PG County. It's what I expect for what I pay. What I am afraid of is my future in PG County. To hear the gentleman earlier who says he's been in this house since the 70s, to hear folks say that their parents are, abused at their nursing homes, to hear folks on the call last week say that their elderly parents couldn't get to dialysis, they couldn't get their blood infusion. To me, that's very scary. As somebody who is 43 and I have time to go, what is my destiny when I become an older person? And I think that there's more that can be done around supporting. I heard you talk about the data points to say who gets plowed out first. I think our elderly are really priority, especially those, and I'm not a data person like our friend over here, so I don't know, but I think the medical risk is high, and I'm thinking about that for my longevity in PG County. Also, moving forward and thinking about the rest of my life, and I know this is out of you all's hands, but the Blue Line corridor, it's a bad idea. On top of the metro, to take away, I heard you, Crystal, earlier talk about walkability and things like that. Those things can happen, but they do not need to happen over top of the existing structures. I need everybody to read the Metro reports and see where Metro clearly says that this development is for the new residents of PG County. So that means us who are here in this room, who have been here, it's not really designed for us. I take the Capitol Heights Metro, I work for the federal government, I go downtown every day. I ride 5 stops. Woohoo, that's a win for me in convenience. But there will be no parking. I don't want to ride the bus. And there will only be 200 residential units.
Thank you. Councilmember Adam Stafford.
What I was going to say was I think that we're facing throughout the country, we have what they say, a graying of America, right? That we have a large aging population. And I think that we are trying to think about creative ways to legislate to support this population. District 5 is the oldest population in the county. And so some of the things that we're doing to think about that, we're going to be holding estate planning workshops, and we're trying to help people think about how to protect their assets that they've worked so hard to attain. In addition to that, thinking about how we might even be able to legislate, if you have a will on file, how you may be able to have some type of tax credit for that as well. We're also looking at businesses, working with the Chamber of Commerce, thinking about what they call the silver tsunami with businesses that are here in the county. How might we incentivize businesses to sell their businesses to other aspiring entrepreneurs where they can gain wealth through acquisition by buying somebody's laundromat or somebody's cleaners that they've had for so long, so they can age in grace and age and take their legacy to the next level. Additionally, a lot of the work that we've been doing in District 5 has been around food insecurity for elderly, but then also transportation. And building housing also relates to that as well. So a lot of the things that we want to see in the county, the better retail, the higher end grocery stores, better shopping experiences, it relies on density. People want to bring stores to places where they're going to have foot traffic, where they're going to have 10,000 people going to come through this store a day, right? And so in order to do that, we have to build more housing, more densely located, and a Metro stop is a place where you can create that type of walkable community where you can put that Whole Foods, put those different types of stores that the community desires.
I agree, and I know that my time is up, but if we look parallel to Capitol Heights Metro Station on Old Central Avenue, it is literally stuck in 1955. The post office is the only thing that's really kicking on that block. So walkability is there, or even if we look at solutions like Ivy City, right? Ivy City was historically a railroad area, and the crime was high. They came in, they gentrified it, they built all of these up and downs, and it still has its issues, but when they redid the Macy's building, they provided a shuttle to transportation. So it, in fact, does not have to be on top of the Metro.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Hi, thank you for having this. My name is Dr. Noah Waters. I'm the former mayor of the town of Eagle Harbor. A lot of people don't know Eagle Harbor is one of the last predominantly African-American waterfront communities remaining in these United States. There are only about 7 Eagle Harbors in Prince George's County. And my concern is that at least one council member has proposed a data center at Eagle Harbor. Eagle Harbor, those who have visited, is one of the quietest locations in the state of Maryland. It is extremely beautiful natural beauty. So I'm concerned about that. It would be confusing a predominantly African-American council to do that to a town that's now on the National Register of Historic Places. You have CR 038-2025. You passed that resolution in March of 2025. That is a gold mine. That is a gold mine, the heritage. Prince George's County is an attraction. If you advertise and polish, we have over 460 historic sites in Prince George's County to help close the budget gap. The state of Maryland brings in about $2.4 billion a year, 40,000 jobs. Data centers don't have jobs. I don't know of anyone, even elected officials, I will keep nameless, who want to live beside data centers. So those of you, I'm trying to be very respectful, but some keep bringing these iterations of data centers over and ignoring the will of the people. People need to know that the leverage that's causing the moratorium is the election that's coming up. You know, do does this council need to be replaced? Because there are candidates coming forward who are definitive, who will honor the will of the people against data centers, because it's the redundant testimony of data centers. So, but thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We will have Anthony Alvarez, Nirvan Sagupta, and Mia Russell. Are they gone? Okay.
Hi, my name is Nirvan Sengupta. I'm a resident of Greenbelt. I would like to speak about a youth employment issue. Danielle Glaros, former councilwoman, worked with the tech ed teacher at Parkdale to host a trades fair. I think that should be an institutionalized thing. We've got college fairs, and I think this issue affects the boys more directly. I'm a public school teacher here. 2 years ago, I was a long-term sub for second grade, and an 8-year-old boy in March during Women's History Month said, "When is it Boys History Month?" And I said, so there's a lot of boys in middle school, high school. It's very clear that they're not dumb, but they don't want to sit down and read a book. We need to, in Germany, they have a model that works. They start in 10th grade. 2/3 of the cost of this apprenticeship program is borne by private industry because they want to invest in future labor. If their future labor pool dries up, their business dries up. So you can have private investment on this too. But we need to institutionalize that system of the trades fair and connecting apprenticeships from unions, local engineering companies. And I forget who said it earlier. You were talking about other trades and things like that. But this really impacts boys and young men that can't get jobs because they're not skilled. They never had anyone point them to a trailhead that this is a life you can live. In a few years, you can make 6 figures if you're good, but they don't have that connection with real people. They need these apprenticeships. So I would like to see that institutionalized. I'm not sure where that knowledge from Danielle Glaros went. I tried to do it at Roosevelt with Ms. Bogowski, the teacher that worked with Danielle Glaros, but we weren't able to make it happen the same way as if we would have had, as it would have had we had council backing. And that $6 million for the youth employment, it can connect to those summer jobs. Thank you.
Thank you. Shayla Adams Stafford.
Yes, I just wanted to let you know, as a former trade school teacher, I definitely agree with you. And I wanted to let you know, we do have a countywide trade fair for youth that's put on by the by LIUNA, and also I believe by the Carpenters Union. But it takes place at their headquarters in Lanham, which happens every year, and they have hundreds of kids that come from all over the county. The school system buses the students there, and so I'd like to connect you with that program so that you can help us to expand it, to expand more students to come to that. The challenge is getting them to stay in the apprenticeship program. That's where we need support.
Thank you. Yes.
So, my name is Anthony Alvarez. I live in Lanham. I don't know which. Oh, damn. My fault. All right, sorry. All right. My name is Anthony Alvarez. I live in Lanham. I'm not quite sure, which district I'm on. But one main concern I have is, the data center and stuff, which would, it wouldn't benefit anybody, career-wise, health-wise. Instead, we could be investing the money into our schools. We can be teaching kids more than just, arts, just sports. We'd be teaching them careers and stuff while they're in high school. Because, honestly, you have people like me that are, freshly out of high school. I don't even know what I'm about to do with myself. Because we don't have real opportunities or, guidance to know where we're about to go. And then not only that, we could be investing that money into people's mental health, for the kids, because honestly, it's you have kids that are learning how to read on their own, because they have parents that are like either immigrants or, fuck, oh no, sorry. But they're either immigrants or they have, you know, people like me that my mom was born and raised here, but she was working my whole life. So the only person raising and nourishing me is my grandparents, but they can't help me with anything because I have to read and write everything for them. So I had to teach myself how to do everything. We need more like people in the schools to help out those type of children. And it's not only Hispanics, it's Africans, Caribbeans, everybody.
Thank you. I know Cheryl Adams stopped out something she wanted to add.
Sir, we're about to change your life right now. Raymond Bell, come on down here. Raymond Bell, come on down. This is Mr. Raymond Bell, and he has a partnership here in District 5. He has an organization called the Hope Project. Because you live in District 5, you can get free training in IT, you can get free training in CDL, you can get free training in armed security right here in District 5. And guess what? The thing about this man you standing next to right here, after you finish the training, he's gonna put you right in a job. So you're gonna follow through, and everybody, if you don't know about the Hope Project, Raymond, give him a little plug, 1 second, tell him what you do. This is the man.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Raymond Bell. I'm the founder and CEO of the most successful job training program in the country, federally funded. 4,000 graduates. They work for Accenture, Google, Apple, Lockheed, CACI, I could go on and on. And we also have about 2,000 CDL truck drivers that work for every major truck driving company in the country. How you get your food, how you get your furniture, how you get anything in your house, it came off a truck. So I'm gonna be over in the corner if anybody wants to talk.
If you have a
I'll be to the
nephew, if
end.
you have a cousin, if you have somebody that needs a job, call him. And also, the thing that is important to note, my students, when I was a teacher, some of my students have gone through his program. These kids are 26, 27, 28, making $70,000, $80,000 a year, and I'm not lying. These kids go through and he places them in the jobs. Please connect with Raymond Bell right here if you're in District 5, your child needs a job.
Thank you.
Amen.
Yes.
Hi, my name is Mia Russell, and I was disappointed to hear about the reduced funding, the 90% cut to the University of Maryland Extension. So I'm a former Extension educator. I'm in faculty at Johns Hopkins, but that's really where I got my taste of higher ed, the University of Maryland Extension. I'm also on the Extension Advisory Committee. And I worked in Prince George's, Anne Arundel, and Montgomery counties, helping to serve our community in all different types of ways. So personally, I did a lot of financial education programming, partnered with Prince George's County Public Schools to even help them create that elective, that now graduation requirement. But cooperative extension is a three-legged stool. Prince George's County provides $200,000 of funding. Federal government provides $1.7 million. But Prince George's County gets the benefit of all of those dollars, right? You leverage that $200,000. And I got them to share some statistics with me. So they said that there are 19 faculty in the county now, 157 volunteers. And in the fiscal year 2024, Extension brought educational programming to 8,500 participants, 14,000 residents across every county district. Congressman Ivey recommended them for the congressional recognition for the 4-H program. The Maryland Hispanic Leadership Empowerment Award was awarded to University of Maryland Extension for their work in digital literacy. And also, we were just talking about farmers. Their Master Gardener Volunteer program has provided over 2,029 hours of service to Prince George's County residents and over 4,600 acres of land. So,
thank you. I apologize. The time is up.
Yep. So I'm just asking that you all reconsider that funding. 90% is a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for everyone's patience. Our last four are Carlos Childs, Dion Ferguson, Carla Lundy, and Tamara McKinney. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you all. My name is Carlos Childs. I'm actually a new resident of District 1, but I heard about this, so I thought I'd show up too. Yeah, right, thank you. So I want to say, one, thank you, Chair Oriana, for having this. I want to say, one, I am a renter. Currently, my apartment building is not covered under the Rent Stabilization Act that you all passed because my apartment building was built after 2000. Currently, I pay almost $2,000 a month for an 856 square foot apartment. I'm wondering, what is the current board going to do about actually moving that timeline up so it's not just apartments that are built before 2000, because a lot of people do not live in older apartments, and we keep building new apartments that are supposed to be affordable but don't have rent stabilization. Also, I know it's a lot of people here who have been talking about data centers and wanting to hold off until the study. I think we should go past holding off to the study and have an absolute ban on hyperscale data centers, because those are not benefiting the community and small businesses. They only benefit large corporations. Third, it's been a lot of talk about the snow, and I just want to know, what does accountability look like from the council to hold whoever's responsible accountable for that? And then lastly, I know, and shout out to you all who were newly appointed members, I want to know what outreach is being done to the public who, some of us may just see new members popping up on the council right before an election and feel like our vote is kind of being taken away, and just say, hey, here's some new people, there we go, and seeing the people move from council, district, at large, and then have new people coming in. Just what's the plan to make sure, like, next election cycle we're not sitting through that same thing again? Thank you all.
Thank you for all of your questions. I'll start with rent stabilization. I agree with you. My colleagues that were there with me are probably like groaned when you brought it up, because it's a pain point for me. When I first got elected, said I'm going to pass rent stabilization. I told people this is the thing, I'm going to do it. And it was watered down, and it was stripped away, and we left 40,000 people without rent protection, and that's because of big money. It's a prime example. AOBA gave money to people. They stripped the bill down. They're not protecting our seniors. They're not protecting. There's just so much I feel about this. It's just, it is left us open to gentrification, point blank and period. And the reality is, pay attention, watch who does what, and I always tell people vote. Because I'm a champion for those things. I believe in those things. But the reality is that people will tell you anything on a mailer, an ad, at an event, but every vote we take is recorded. Everything we say is recorded. So everyone can go back and watch what everybody done said, and how everyone voted, and what amendment they put in, and what died. And there's an accountability, and I'm just going to take my elected hat off. There's an accountability we have to do to watching people, because it's not even just here, federal level, every level, politicians lie, straight up. And so we have to watch them and pay attention to what they're saying. And I'm telling you, as someone that sits with a lot of elected officials, they be lying. I'm about to say real quick, I have 13 seconds left. Actually wondering, can all the council members who are here now say if they are open or not open to updating that legislation so that it covers new renters as well? I am. I had the bill that originally had everyone covered. I voted it that way that time. I'll vote that way again. Okay, so moving on, I guess. Oh no, go ahead. Anyone can say.
I would say, I think it's this is my opinion. You might not like it. You may like it or not like it. But I live in District 2, right? So I'm right next to you. I'm Hyattsville, Mount Rainier. Okay, right? I paid high rent. At Post Park. Okay, my rent was $1,700 to $2,000 a month before I bought a house. Like, we're in the North County real estate market when it comes to DC prices and rents. I can't speak for all my colleagues. I'm always open to look at a piece of legislation, how it's going to work. But I will say, and I even sued my apartment complex, so there's like a long things, okay? But I will say, you also have to take account for like the maintenance of buildings and the sustained maintenance of a building, which comes up. Councilmember Oriata had a bill on inhabitability, like when you're, and I think we passed it, we all voted for it, like your apartment becomes uninhabitable, the landlord has to provide you with accommodation. So I would say for me, I'm always open to look at legislation, but I'm also concerned at the details and the market, and I also deal with on the con side for me, and we can go all the way into it. My district was on the news and all of this, and the county exec helped me out with it. I have slumlords going on in Langley Park with, and Councilmember Ivy was there as well, the Maryland condominium and other things. So the converse that I deal with in my district, yes, I have a high-income apartment, Hyattsville Arts District, where we're booming, and then I have an apartment building where you freeze the rent and they disinvest. They let it become a slumlord situation. The county is going to be on the bill for paying for the heater, and they're going to let it just disinvest and then sell it. And what are we doing about it? I had the same, yeah, but, and I would say an accountability also has a price tag when it comes to like the enforcement arm, right? When you say accountability, you understand you're paying for a person. You're paying for enforcement, pension, and everything else. So I don't think anyone's not open, but I personally want to make sure I work with the market in my district's super unique. So you can't compare District 2. I'm not talking for nobody, because I've got metro stations, right? I'm dealing with the market of DC. Okay, half my residents sometimes think they in DC. Like, I'm dealing with different things. But I'm just giving you a little context
Councilman,
about, I'm not going to just be plain about where I am on something and there's not a bill.
I apologize to interrupt you, council member.
Sorry, but I'm
No, you're
passionate
fine.
too.
No, and I appreciate your passion. I just know that we're at 9:01. And we had a hard stop, and we only got 2 speakers left. And I refuse to let them not speak, because we are right there at the finish line.
Real quick.
Go ahead.
So my name is Dionne Ferguson. This is my daughter, Dominique Ferguson. We are residents of District 5. So my daughter's homeschooled, so I would like for her to speak about what she sees in her community.
I want to talk about illegal dumping that has lasted over 14 years, has become increasingly worse. We've observed a troubling increase in discarded debris, including furniture, tires, and different trash items. This poses health and safety risks to our community. We constantly submit PGC 311 requests at least twice a month or more. The community vowed to have a do not litter sign installed to prevent illegal dumping that imposes a fine. However, the sign does little to nothing to deter this behavior. Despite community efforts to report and clean up these areas, the problem continues to escalate. Many residents feel frustrated because the location at 74th Avenue and Parkwood Street is repeatedly targeted. We believe that stronger enforcement, increased civilization, and more accessible disposable options could help deter this behavior.
Thank you. Quickly, Adam Stafford.
Thank you so much. And our constituent services leader is going to come contact you right now, and we can work on getting a sign there as well.
Okay,
so
yeah,
thank
I've
you so much.
got Greg's information, so we're definitely going to email. He said he will come out. I have pictures and everything of what's been going on. It's been a long-going issue, and this is not the only. It's a whole bunch of issues that I did address and that I sent your office an email. A person did get back with me, and then 2 other people were recommended that were going to help me. But hopefully I can get some of the things that I have on my email that I sent to you in your office, and we can work together to get the neighborhood back looking good.
Thank you. And I believe, oh, okay.
One more.
One more. One more?
Yeah, one more after me.
Okay.
She said,
Got it.
All right. Good evening. Thank you all for being here and allowing us to do this. Everyone who spoke was so brave, and I said I couldn't just sit there and not say anything. So in honor of my husband who transitioned on February the 3rd, 2025, I want to reiterate the need to make sure that we look at these rehab facilities. At this particular rehab facility, it was in Silver Spring only because it was so many bad reviews of all the other ones, all the ones that were in Prince George's County. Let me get that straight. Prince George's County is why my family had to go all the way to Silver Springs. And even going there, my husband caught an infection within days of being there. And I have all his emails that, he sent me, all the pictures that we took there of him. And I just had some points that I wanted to, some little points I want to have here. We need better food preparation to make sure it's safe, so infections do not happen. We need more rehab centers for people who need dialysis, because that's also a key. You're placed in rehab facilities based on your need, and there are not a lot of facilities in the county that take care of patients who have dialysis. Also, our family was not able to care for my husband at home, and that's the only reason why we had to go to a rehab facility. Also, we need to have conversations with the social workers in the hospitals, because a lot of them are reluctant, to say disparaging things about the facilities, but thank goodness that people put reviews on the internet. And we looked at those, and it was so disheartening that I couldn't send him anywhere. My daughter and my family were attacking me. Mom, you can't send him there because people died. And before my husband went into the rehab center, he was trying to learn how to walk again, and he caught an infection. Okay, that's over. My time is over. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing.
I'm just going to say thank you so much for being here in the evening, because there was a comment, a gentleman came up and it was reference to get with Community Connect and stuff like that. The important issue is when you're having important meetings during the day, most of your constituents are at work. They cannot communicate with you, they can't get educated, so this is very vital. Please continue this. It's vital. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I call her Shayla, but out of respect, Mrs. Adams Stafford, thank you for picking up the pieces and helping us out on the issues that I contacted you about. Welcome to the council. And again, I don't have a problem telling you what I don't like, but I'm going to tell you this is what we needed. In the evening, community engagement. Thank you.
I think that was a perfect way to end the night. So I want to thank everyone for coming out. Again, we have the survey, so if you want to take it, fill it out, send it to people that didn't didn't come. And then our last session is tomorrow, Hillcrest Heights, 6 p.m. Spread the word. And I guess we're over. Thank you all.